House has the largest selection of solid wood with the hottest new styles. Real furniture that's built to last, like our solid bedrooms, living rooms, and dining from Kincaid. Our volume enables us to save you a lot of money, especially during our solid wood sale. Plus, get free financing, fast free delivery, and free in-home design. So for solid wood, sweet styles, and solid service since 1964, shop over 3 football fields of furniture at Carroll House, because you like nice things.
White Glove Exotic Services is St. Louis's first concierge vehicle service center. Alex David's team is passionate, certified technicians. They have industry-leading tools and equipment. They do it all. They pick up and deliver your car, hands-free. Plus, they have elite detailing service, customized PPF wraps and tinting, and inspection and titling assistance. White Glove also specializes in logistics and storing options, vehicle listings, and consignment. White Glove Exotic Services. Check them out at cancelthisshow.com. Kathy Big Strick, owner of Experience Real Estate Partners with eXp, has been one of St. Louis, Missouri's highest selling groups for 26 years running. In that time, Kathy and her team have successfully assisted an incredible 4,000 families. So if you're thinking about buying, building, or selling, be sure to put Kathy's group and their experience to work for you, and you can expect to be moved. Just give her a call at 314-276-SOLD. That's 314-276-7653, or find her online at experience-re.com. Winty's in the Chesterfield Valley, if you don't know, is a family-owned business that has been around since 1994, serving some of the best chicken wings in town, no joke. Also known for their fresh burgers, pizza, and incredible smoked meat. Top-notch happy hour specials are included, plus live music every Friday and Saturday. Oh yeah, you can also enjoy their spacious heated covered patio. It's Winty's in the Chesterfield Valley, 18,000 Chesterfield Airport Road.
Hey guys, this is Dr. Mahesh Bhagway. I'm an orthopedic surgeon here in St. Louis for over the last 20 years. I went to Washington University. I got my medical degree at St. Louis University. From local athletes to injured workers and even Cardinal baseball players, I've treated them all. Our practice strives to personalize care with every new patient being seen by me. To find me, contact my staff at drbagwe.com, DRBAGWE.com. Hopefully you don't need me, but if you do, you can find me now.
Hey guys, happy Friday. We are here, get you going with your day. Welcome to Cancel This. This is cancelthisshow.com. I'm Vic Faust, Tab of the Hassle alongside Eric Johnson will be in. We've got MP. We've got producer Tim. We have got a packed house. We've got Lizzie Sparks on the comment line. And of course, we've got you. Jump in, share the show as always. Go to our website, cancelthisshow.com. Cancelthisshow.com. Check out your favorite platform from a viewing standpoint and or a listening standpoint. Of course, when the shows end, if you can't watch them live, that's fine. Most of the views, most of the listens happen after the show. We edit those down for the audio. For example, Spotify, Google, Apple, iHeart, we've got them all there. Also, your favorite viewing options as well. Rumble, YouTube, Facebook, Cloud Hub. A lot of people don't even know about Cloud Hub yet. We have a big
Cloud Hub,
but we have a big audience on Cloud. I talk to people nationally and they're like, Cloud Hub, but there's a lot of people listening on Cloud Hub.
There are a lot of people listening to our show on Cloud Hub. People don't realize that Cloud Hub is always out there, and Cloud Hub is one of the best platforms for conservatives. There is zero censorship. There are more people, I'm convinced, on Cloud Hub than there are in any other platform.
Well, we got a packed show as we always do here. Coming up in just a few minutes. Can't wait to talk with Sherronna Bishop, America's mom. Lots to get into with her regarding what's happening in schools. Her family's house was raided by the FBI.
That's unbelievable.
We'll talk to her about that. We'll see what we can get into with election integrity and borders from a time standpoint. Around 9 o'clock, John Daddy. I like Daddy better.
John Daddy.
Hey, John Daddy. Why do you have deja vu? Dun, dun, dun.
He's going to answer our questions.
Yeah, we'll get into that. We'll check out that for a little bit. A terrific, inspiring story. 3 high school students raised over $230,000 for a janitor so he can re-retire.
What an amazing good news for once. Eric will be so happy when he gets into here.
And then, of course, if you guys have your stories, your ideas, if you have your ghost video, if you have your paranormal, it is a Paranormal Friday as well. We'll talk about the UFO situation, the hearings that are still going on. I've got video of something that was in the night sky in Detroit. We'll check that
Was it
out.
George?
I don't know. We need to check in with George. And of course, anything else that you guys might be sending us, that's for sure. Anyway, with that being said, real quick, some housekeeping notes. Kim Gardner, when it comes to St. Louis Circuit Attorney, she was defiant yesterday, almost to the point of saying she's doing a good job in St. Louis City. She's allowed to say what she wants to say. She was surrounded by these same community organizers that I've been familiar with over the past 5 years when I was working local news, telling her what a great job she's doing. She says she ain't going anywhere. I have talked to some people on the inside that say Andrew Bailey is a smart cookie, and he has now got what he thinks is evidence. Finally, hardcore evidence, Tabitha, to answer your question from yesterday.
Why it didn't happen before.
But now there's evidence and proof
Okay.
of things where she did not dot the I's and cross the T's. And we
became sloppy.
We're going to show you a contract, a sheet, a court filing. This was filed. MP will pop it up whenever we get a chance. This actually has Daniel Riley's name, and it has the it has the prosecuting attorney Phipps on. There it is. That is a court document that was filed yesterday. Kim said she fought to keep Daniel Riley behind bars. There's proof. Can't tell you where I got that, but I've got it.
And glad you do.
That is an X check-marked box saying both parties agree on his release stipulations. Phipps is the attorney, if you look closely. That's the prosecutor. That is when a prosecutor under Kim Gardner signs a sheet, she's signing the sheet. That's how it works. She tried to say that she fought to keep him behind bars. That document says otherwise. Andrew Bailey came out last night after a press conference and said, we feel like we have documentation that shows she is not telling the truth. So what I'm told is this person in the know thinks that he's going to win. We'll keep that contract up. He would beat her in court. She will go back to the Missouri Supreme Court and have a very good chance at stopping it.
Good.
Good. No, good. She would stay in office.
Oh, no, not good then. I meant good that he's finally dealing with her because, think about this.
So you see it.
She got caught this time. How many other times has she done this and she wasn't caught?
Yeah, this is the court filing where they signed off on. They signed off on this right there.
You know what problem that this also brings to mind is, do you know when this type of discrepancy happens with a prosecutor in the type of position, particularly that Kim Gardner's in, they will have to go back and look at all the other cases. And guess what else happens? This gives a lot of folks reason who've been prosecuted to get another hearing, and they could potentially be released because they can question her integrity. This has happened in other areas before. People, I can guarantee you there's attorneys out there, Scott Rosenblum, probably one of them, thinking about his clients.
Well, he doesn't lose. So
that's also true. He does not lose.
Not going against the prosecuting attorneys in St. Louis City who don't have a lot of experience, and that's not a dig on them. You're talking about
he's fantastic.
These prosecuting attorneys don't make a lot of money. They go to law school. They don't make much money. And then guess who they get to face? Scott Rosenblum, Travis Noble, Al Watkins, all these guys that have been around forever. They know the system, and there's no replacing experience. And that's what those young kids, I'll call them kids, these young attorneys don't have.
Do we know what Kim Gardner's salary is?
Yeah, it's somewhere. Is that her St. Louis salary or is that her Soros salary?
I would like to know both.
Eric Johnson joining us in studio. We've got America's Mom coming up. We'll pop over to her in a second, but we needed to address the Kim Gardner situation because it was still the St. Louis Circuit Attorney, because it still was a national story. But from what I've been told, all intents and purposes, this will be a long, drawn out case unless she resigns, and she's not resigning.
She's not going to resign.
Here's the deal. Our attorney, just throw the book at her. Let her stew. She doesn't do anything anyway. Let her wake up every single morning knowing there's another hearing coming up about her ass. And does anybody in this room want to do a high five? We were talking about this before anybody else in St. Louis. As a matter of fact, we were talking about when people were going, who's Kim Gardner and what are you talking about? St. Louis is kind of safe. We were talking about this 2-3 years ago.
Well, she was doing interviews with
Yeah,
us. She wouldn't do interviews with
Yeah.
everybody, but she gave us a shot.
Yeah,
And-
but she's been reprimanded before for ethical violations. Guess what? She's still in her job. I remember the whole
She's the
Crichton's deal.
Teflon Don.
Remember when Scott
She
Rosenblum
is.
told us that
'Cause she's
she was
elected.
done
Yeah.
and she's still here? She gets a get out of jail free card every
And you were
single
watching
time.
those people behind her. They were activists. They were BLMers.
Those are the guys who yelled
were-
at us. And
Yes. They
be
were-
fair to Kim. Be fair
Well,
to Kim.
I'll tell you what.
Be fair to Kim.
Again, conservatives, where are you guys at? Where are the guys that are on the other side going, be fair to victims? Be fair to victims. Where are you guys at, conservatives? We're over here talking on this little podcast. We need some people downtown rallying underneath and saying, enough. Go find yourself someone who is competent. Here's the thing Tabitha just said that is absolutely
Well, there are
right.
people who do that, like C Sharp Cedric Redmond.
That's fine.
Yes.
Here's what Tabitha said that is right. I feel sorry for this girl that it was the volleyball player. I do. I'm like, this
Absolutely
is
so.
I go, the optics of this are national. It's amazing. It's horrible. Why don't we go do this 287 more times of people who have been shot in St. Louis and see if those people
And
were
they will.
released out of jail.
And they will.
And then let our AG out of Jeff City go after every single one of those and see where the paper trail left. Maybe someone who's days before was an armed robbery at a 7-Eleven and then went out and killed somebody 3 days later.
They will go
Why don't we
through-
do that?
They will likely go through all of these cases. And not only that, but think about this. It's like killing two birds with one stone. We have those 95 plus officers, STLMPD officers, who are on her exclusion list, who can arrest people, but their cases are never heard in court. Well, guess what? When she's gone, that exclusion list goes with her. And then we have 95 plus officers back out on the streets making arrests.
Drew Collins on our Facebook line. You should be disgusted. I know that you get a giggle
He
out of
said
us.
yesterday he wanted her gone too.
I know you get a giggle out of us, but man, it's one thing to say, you're right. She was elected. I'm really hoping that this is the crossroads. Tashara Jones has now come out against her, right?
Yes.
Tashara
Tashara was quiet yesterday.
was quiet. When Tashara comes out after
You won't hear her talk again because she's already said
Oh,
what
you
she
have
said.
to. We
You-
have to.
But you won't.
But
No, we have to.
Well,
but,
that's 2, 4, and
but
5
I'm-
need to go presser and
no,
KMOX.
but
needs
I'm
to
telling
presser.
you, she won't be talking on that matter anymore. She'll say it's now a
Wow,
court. It's
really?
out. Well, she'll say it's out of my. It's in the courts now.
Yeah, because look at the backlash that's going to potentially take place. Now, do you think if Kim Gardner successfully removed, Todd Bodeker on the comment line earlier said, wait for the riots. Do you think we've always speculated that if she's ever removed, that
Let the
these
riots
folks are going to
begin.
do something?
Let the riots
Will
begin.
they
Tabitha.
riot?
Tabitha,
Will
listen,
they
look
go
at
out
me,
on
look at me.
crime sprees?
Tabitha, look at me.
Yes.
Let the riots begin, because I'm tired of it. People in St. Louis are tired of it. This new police chief, from what I understand about him, is tired of it. If you think so much about a prosecutor that is not prosecuting, and you think that this lady needs to be removed because she has violated her oath to protect St. Louis, watch me. Let the riots begin and then deal with the aftermath.
I'm with you. We have to do what needs to be done. I've always felt that way.
But I don't think that's the case.
been in
I
favor
think,
of getting rid of her.
To be honest with you,
Oh,
when
I think it will
Tashara
be
is
the
against you,
case.
when Tashara is against you, and the police chief is against you, and the AG is against you, and the good people who are not the elite down on Del Mar are against you, I think then it might be your time to just go have a nice cocktail with George Soros on an island somewhere and say, wow, look how we screwed that city up.
I know, but like Mary on the comment line, Mary Tainer said, Soros will send the troops in. And that is exactly what I believe will happen. If she's removed from her job, we're going to have Antifa and all of these other ridiculous communist parties in
Don't
our
be afraid
town
of anymore.
starting fights.
Hey, Tab, look at me.
I'm not personally
Tab,
scared
look
of
at me.
anything.
Tab, look at me.
Yes.
Don't be afraid anymore.
I'm not afraid.
It's a matter of fact.
Why would I be
As a matter
afraid?
of fact, when we started talking about George Soros 2 years ago, when Vic brought him up, nobody knew who he was. 3 years ago, nobody knew.
Yes,
George
Eric,
Soros.
we all knew who he was.
Not the general public.
We've known who
Not the
Soros
general
was
public.
for many years.
Not the general public. Now we know. It's time that
You didn't know. Most
you're
of us
right.
did.
Hey, I had no idea who the guy was 3 years ago. It is time for us to do a major ad campaign against this cat.
Well, the problem
Major.
is that she played the race card, and she did. She brought it up. Unfortunately, while she may deal with some of those issues, This has nothing to do with race. Nothing.
No, not at all.
Nothing.
Of course not.
Nothing.
But she'll
Not-
play the race card
It's
Maybe the race
nothing.
card is coming to an end
because
too.
she did the last time.
Maybe the
And
race
that's why
card.
I'm
Maybe the
stating
race
that.
card is coming to an end too. Lori Lightfoot is number 3
I
in the mayoral race up in Chicago. They're kicking out this prosecutor in St. Louis. You know what we should do, Vic? We should start to brand cities as George Soros cities. And if you're a George Soros, I'm
Yeah.
serious.
No,
Come on,
I know.
serious. Think about it, Vic.
I'm following you.
Well, the government
I love your
already-
creativity.
Say, do you want to
There's
go to a
already
George
list
Soros?
out there. You know, our
Nobody
gov-
knows.
Yeah, no, they do. There
Are those called sanctuary cities?
Yeah, exactly. Our government does know. There's an entire document out there you can find out online about it, where they talk about all of the prosecutors across the country who were funded by Soros. We interviewed. I wish we could find that interview. I have that somewhere. When we interviewed Kim
I
Gardner,
believe most are minority too.
they are. Yes, the majority.
Of course they are.
The majority.
George
are.
Soros knows what he's doing, and he knew that the glass was going to break eventually. The glass is cracking. It is cracking. People don't want this anymore. I do think that we should make like a music video and have like, I don't know, like the police come back or something and do it. Are you going to a George Soros town this week? And we do a big TikTok and we make it public. We make it a pop hit sensation. Go to a George Soros city this weekend. Don't forget your gun. And we have to start to understand. People don't understand why Chicago is exploding and dying. They don't get it. They're like, that's damn Chicago. It's the Navy Pier. It's
It
Memorial.
wasn't like that when I lived there. Things have really
it's
gone
not.
downhill.
It's the Miracle Mile. It's amazing. No, it's not. It's a George Soros town. It doesn't need to be branded as a Lori Lightfoot town. It needs to be George Soros town. Because here's the deal. If you get money from George Soros in an election campaign, Vic, your competition should be able to say, you can vote for him, but they're a George Soros candidate.
Why don't we go back and find that old interview and cut that little excerpt out? I asked her, Kim Gardner, did George Soros fund your campaign? She says,
said yes.
he did. Yes, he did.
Here's the guys. This is easy. It's going to get down to the Missouri Supreme Court, like I started this show off with. Somebody who I very dearly trust, a judge, said Bailey's probably going to win in the courts. Kim Gardner may win with Supreme Court if the Supreme Court does what they've done in the past. But this is such a big deal. The Supreme Court may finally turn around.
Yeah.
And it's a long, drawn-out process. Nothing's going to happen quickly. And we'll wait and see.
How many
Wait,
people
hold on,
will
but
die in
now,
the process?
now, I would love to talk to your friend because she's already gone through one ethics investigation in the
And-
Supreme
and
Court.
she just
If
got a
this
little
is
slap
number
on the-
2, if this is number 2 in that court, come on, Vic. I have a higher vibration than that. I think it could. So this could be the one.
I also heard rumors of, quote, National Guard possibly being called into St. Louis for weekend riots if she is removed, which would
We'll need
say
them.
which would say a lot about the residents in St. Louis City if you're going to go tear up the city. If that were to occur.
It won't be residents of the city. It'll be a few residents of the city,
I say
but
bring
it'll
it-
be these Soros troops.
I say bring it on because I don't think it'll happen. I think people are sick of Kim Gardner.
I don't think so, Eric. The criminals count on her to be the turnstile in the city system. And it's not just St. Louis. There's a city in almost every state exactly
This
like
is
St. Louis
not
City.
just a St. Louis matter. You know
It's
that, right?
not just a St. Louis
You know that,
matter.
right? You
No, it's
know
an
that
act.
we
You're
are.
right.
It's a
we are-
national
you know
situation.
You know we're the template. We're the template right now of how things go forward in this country.
That's right.
I had a friend tell me yesterday, wait a second, you guys are the city of Kim Gardner. You're the city of Corey Bush. You're the city.
yes,
You're the
yay.
city of Maxine Waters.
No, that's
You are-
California.
No, Eric, she's from here.
Oh, right.
She grew up here. She was born, raised, got her start here. You're the city that housed Don Lemon for a while.
Did we?
Yes.
He and Vic were buddies when he was here.
Vic.
I was like, damn, you're right, aren't you?
Vic's kicking it, endorsing it with Don Lemon on Thursday nights.
I'd love to do a show with Don.
But think about this. Look, I've been negative as hell on this show for 3 years about St. Louis. let me talk right to Tashara.
I thought you've been pretty darn
Let
positive.
me talk right to Tashara. Tashara, here, I'm going to give you a second to
Here we
log
go.
on. I'm going to log you on just a second here. Okay, you're on now. Tashara, I'm giving you a chance. We believe in you. You could be the catalyst for every liberal-run city in the country. Listen to me. You could take Chicago. You could take Los Angeles, New York. You could take Manhattan, wherever. You could be the catalyst to say, we have tried these liberal objectives. They didn't work. I am going to turn St. Louis around. I'm going to make this the emerald of the Midwest. And you guys got to follow me. You guys got to follow me. Tashara, I believe in you. Tashara, I saw the look in your eye at that little press conference the other day. You had the look of fear in your eye. You don't have to have that anymore. We're backing you.
Look of fear.
And us people from the suburbs, we will come and spend our money in your town. I promise. So, Tashara,
Is this before or after she drops her idea of reimagining policing, Eric?
she needs to drop that whole
That's
idea.
not happening.
No, she needs to drop
Because
that
guess
whole
what?
idea.
She's probably being funded by Mr. George Soros as well. It's like, hey, you get when the getting's good, Eric, and there's a lot of money going out to our liberal cities and liberal policies, and it's the perfect time to bring in, for the first time to cancel this at cancelthisshow.com. We have got America's mom, Sherronna Bishop. Sherronna, I tell you what, this may not be your first rodeo because that backdrop you have is badass. Thanks for jumping in with us this morning.
I love it.
Thank you, guys. This is such an honor. Thank you for letting me come in and spend some time with you guys today. Talk about canceling. Yeah, we know a lot about being canceled. I mean, just being a mom these days, you get canceled. If you're out there calling out the garbage that's going on, if you're saying, no, I don't want a Satanist club in my school, you're going to be canceled and put on a domestic terrorist watch list. So,
well, tell
topic.
people a little bit about yourself, where you're from, where you live, and what happened to you when it came to the ultimate getting canceled by the federal government.
Oh, gosh. You know what? I am from the People's Republic of Colorado, formerly a free, beautiful state. But, you know, it was the first state in the union to adopt abortion. And I think there's something to that. It really became a high place for a lot of just unruly behavior by the elites.
Yeah.
The political elites all live there. They buy up massive amounts of property, and they finally have infiltrated to the highest levels of our government. They own 70% of our legislative body now. And so we're under the most extreme progressive Democrat rule you could possibly imagine. It's basically Biden's America in Colorado.
Yeah.
And as everybody experienced during COVID, we definitely went on the attack. We were not going to be on the defensive posture. We wanted to be on the offensive, empowering schools around our state, parents around our state to stand up to all this nonsense. We knew it was fake. You know, I just can't believe it sometimes in the age of Google, where you literally can do your own research, pull up the reports on Nature magazine. Like, you can read all the documentation from these scientists yourself. Why people are so quick to just say government said, so I will comply. It's outrageous what has gone on, but we stood up for ourselves. We did our own research. We reached out to experts. America's frontline doctors were more than happy to help us. Dr. Barkey from Orange County, California, one of the original America First doctors, actually came to Colorado. We led a business revival around our state to open our state back up. And as you're going through all of this stuff, as it pertains to your children, you know, their horrible public indoctrination education they're getting from the government, and you start to realize, okay, it's not necessarily local, because nobody seems to be able to have the power to change anything.
Yes.
So where is all this coming from?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Did you find out what is the answer? Yeah. Where is it at? Who is the guy?
It's called selections. It's called selections. They are selecting elected officials for us. We're not voting for these people. They're selecting them for us. Elections have serious consequences. And in 2019, when I really got aggressive about going after legislation, I literally started America's Mom by sitting in a sundress and reading really bad legislation.
Yes.
People thought I was stupid. They're like, you can't even read a bill. I'm like, I'm literally reading the bill. Like, this is what it is. I don't know what to tell you. I know.
It's really unbelievable. And these guys, especially Eric, they have a hard time believing that election fraud occurs. But we see it right here in our own community, where we have our county councils selecting who they want to be on the council. And then they say they're going to vote, but then they vote in private, and then they select someone. And then we see it higher up. And I don't know what to do to stop that, but it is destroying our country.
Tabitha, I appreciate that. The old ploy of having an elected official retire early so that they can select who they want to step into his position, and more than likely they'll get elected for the next round, is a game that Democrats and Republicans both play. I despise it. It does not give the people the opportunity to vote for who they want. But I can tell you, I mean, this has been an unbelievable journey in discovering just how corrupt, how deep the uniparty goes. It is very much a unified movement. Yes. On the political elites of both the Democrat and Republican side. That is what it is. I've seen everything at this point. And in 2019, you're reading legislation that is outrageous, that is literally removing parents from the lives of their 12-year-olds and up to make medical decisions. In the state of California, Colorado, Oregon, Washington, New York, 12-year-olds and up are allowed to make complete medical decisions apart from their parents' knowledge or consent. In Colorado, they went so far as to allow a new law actually there, because they're trying to get statewide health care, right? They want government health care there. And so then the child is able to sign up for their own health care without the parent knowing, so that they can pay for what? The transition therapy.
Children's Hospital. Yeah, we're right in the middle of that fight right now.
Right here at Washington University.
Washington University.
Yeah, there's a situation
with transgender, Sherronna, if you hadn't heard about that, transgender hospitals. Hey, we're
Right.
talking with America's Mom. We've got her with us, Sherronna Bishop. Sherronna, I don't know if you care to share, but it's not every day that somebody or their family gets visited by a 3-letter government agency.
Yes.
If you care to share and explain what the heck happened with that, all in the name of you just trying to get information.
Yeah. And so, apparently, again, parents standing up for their kids, or you investigating your own elections, because elections belong to you, whether you believe in election fraud or not. The elections belong to you. They're we the people. It's ours. We started investigating elections in April of 2021 after a really bizarre city council race in Grand Junction, Colorado. And that led to canvassing efforts, which led to the county clerk there deciding she was going to do a forensic image of their whole voting system, right? The Dominion voting system.
Uh-oh.
And because they were going to come in and do a trusted build. Well, the law says you can't tamper, you can't erase, you can't do anything to election material for 25 months post-election. Okay. It's 22 federal, it's 25 for the state I live in. Well, they were coming in and they were doing all this stuff, and the clerk got wise to it and said, we're going to secure the entire image, and then we'll take another one afterwards and we're going to compare it and see what they did. Well, sure enough, as you can imagine, they deleted election files. They had deleted election logs. And I led the charge vocally, publicly, to get this information out, to work with our grassroots people across the state of Colorado. We started reaching out to people across the country who could help us figure out what to do with this information, how to process the reports. Fast forward to August, if you guys remember Mike Lindell's cyber symposium, where he was going to be exposing the PCAPs rather, on the election logs, right, that led from China to America. And he did not do that because it was highly illegal to do so. And instead, we found ourselves at that cyber symposium exposing the crimes by Dominion voting systems, by a corrupt Secretary of State from Colorado. And it just, everything blew up, absolutely blew up. The FBI raided Clerk Peters' office in Grand Junction. And then a short time after that, November 16th, we found ourselves 9:30 in the morning. I was schooling my 2 younger kids. We were homeschooling at that point. And I mean, literally, you guys, I just, these agents that are participating in this stuff, first of all, no, they don't ask questions. They just go, yes, sir, whatever you say, sir, we will comply, sir. Literally, that's what's happening here. They don't ask questions. They don't, whoever's whipping them up before they hit the doors is, they have a lot of influence there, and they're not thinking for themselves. They're not doing their own, they're just no critical analysis whatsoever. They're just going along and complying. So I literally had pulled a berry cobbler out of my oven. Do you want to be the FBI agent that takes the battering ram to a homeschooling mom's door with a cherry cobbler on the stove? Like, it just was so, it's a horrible scene. They're banging on the door at 9:30 in the morning. My husband was working from home at that point. Yeah. And they didn't give us even 45 seconds to answer that door.
So then they walk in the house. You have the cherry cobbler out of the oven at this point, and you go, how can I help you? What were some of the things, the conversations that you had with these people?
It was a minute before they saw my cobbler, but
they smelled it first.
They smelled it first. They took a battering. Yeah, it's funny, and we laugh about it now because it is quite hilarious how inept the government agencies are. But they took a battering ram to the door. You guys, the door wasn't even locked. You know, they could have, just in their hysteria, in their, we're going to get this bad mom who's, you know, a domestic terrorist. They just didn't think. So they pulled my husband and I both outside of the house. Their guns were all drawn. We're living in a little neighborhood. It's a very small community. They've got the streets blocked off. I mean, the public shaming that these guys do before they raid your home is pretty incredible.
We saw that down at Mar-a-Lago with Donald Trump not too long ago.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, make them look like a criminal so you can get the public on your side right away, whether or not they are. doesn't matter. They're the ones creating the picture for everyone.
That's such
So
a shame.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
know some guys who are FBI field agents, and they are so disgusted by what their own agency is doing. As a matter of fact, last year I know there were 17 FBI whistleblowers that came forward, and they told the stories of what the FBI and what the government is doing to people exactly like you. It's a plan. They're doing this intentionally, and they consider you to be a terrorist. We're all terrorists in this room.
That's true.
You are. So here's the kicker. They did handcuff us. They illegally handcuffed my husband. We stood outside for probably 30 to 40 minutes. I still had my 2 little boys in the house. I had told them to stay in their room. And of course, eventually they wandered out because it was really loud and it was kind of crazy. And they were wondering what was going on. They didn't know. Nobody knew what was going on. My daughter was there also. She was downstairs. At one point, one of the big agents, probably 6'5", he was manhandling her, pulling her up and down the stairs by her hoodie. I had sent her to get her phone. I'm like, we need to call our attorney because I know what my rights are as far as you have to have a warrant to come onto my property.
Yeah.
After that, I never thought this would happen. So I didn't know what to do from there. I didn't know what we could or could not do. And so we really needed to speak to our attorney. And they finally let us back in the house, uncuffed us, let us back in the house. My little ones were in there with their sister. And a couple of things that we did. Number one, we did not, we were not polite to these people. I kept asking repeatedly for a copy of the warrant. They said they wouldn't give it to me until they felt like it. I mean, it was just a lot of nonsense, a lot of petty little childish things they were doing. The investigator there, Michael Strew, I think that's right. I can't even remember his name now. Strew is his last name from Grand Junction. Anyway, at one point I asked him, and this is where you guys all need to perk up and really listen. I asked him, why are you here? What is it that you think I've done that warrants all of this? They were there in my house for 3.5 hours, terrifying my family, handcuffing us, doing all their big Rambo stuff. And finally he said, you connect people. And I said, that's not in the warrant.
Wow.
What?
That's crazy.
You
Wow.
connect people. What does that mean? Like you're a conduit to something?
Yeah, because
What does
she's
that mean?
America's mom and she's badass and she's been out uncovering truth.
I understand that, but
We know
what's the
that.
crime? What's the
Truth is the
handcuffing for?
crime, Eric. Truth.
So at some point you're getting frustrated 3 hours in and going, stop. What the hell are you guys doing here? And what did I do exactly? And then what was the answer? Or was there an answer?
I mean, he just literally eventually they handed me the warrant, and the warrant said conspiracy to commit wire fraud. They were super disappointed, I'm sure by now, to find that I have dozens of dollars in my bank account. So that has fallen flat. But here's the thing for all of you guys out there: conspiracy to commit wire fraud. They also did that with Simone Gold, Roger Stone, several others. This is the blanket thing that they use to get into your stuff. That's what they want. They just want your stuff. They want to see who you're talking to. They want to see who you're working with. They want to find a crime. They don't know if there's been a crime committed. And that's really the most amazing part. They don't know that there's been a crime committed. They're trying to find something. And one really scary element of this whole raid, thankfully, I had an experience with a friend who had been raided by the FBI prior. And he told me, Sherronna, if you ever get in this situation, which there would have been no reason for that at the time, if you ever find yourself in this situation, just make sure that you do not answer any questions related to any of the weapons in your home. And I was like, okay, weird. Because he ended up having his children taken from him for 2 years because they found a gun casing in one of the children's beds. And it was outrageous. It was a total miscarriage of justice. He eventually won his case, but that was after 2 years of not seeing his little children. So at one point, one of the female agents came out. They had agents from 4 different states. She came out and said, I see you have guns in there. Are they lawfully being put away or whatever? And I looked at her and I knew I hadn't done anything. And I said, don't you dare go there. We are law abiding. We haven't done anything. You guys are on the wrong side of this. Don't you dare talk to me about my weapons. Yeah. And that was it.
Good for you.
You went on to some of the national news outlets, and who was the biggest show that you went on, and what was the kind of the feedback that you got from the audiences as they were listening to this disgusting story?
Eric, the thing about it is when you find yourself in a situation like this, as a regular American, you need to double down. Do not go hide in a corner. Don't get all scared in victim mode. You got to double down and you got to say, nope, I'm not going to hide away. The minute you go quiet, that is when you're done. We've seen that happen with people from January 6th. Of course, we saw it happen with those that were labeled domestic terrorists as parents. You guys may or may not know that people were taken in the middle of the night by the FBI and held without any due process.
Right.
Yes. Yeah, repeatedly. And the reason you don't know is because they got scared and they did not go public.
Yes.
And
You
a lot
have
of it's about
to now.
intimidation.
Yes.
They want
Yeah.
to intimidate us all into keeping our mouths shut and not discussing the truth that so many people know, because that's really what this is all about. You're
is.
connecting people by telling the truth, and they
And getting
don't
people
want you
fired
to
up.
do that.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. It's like we talk about on the show all the time, is that people need to go out there and do the work, and then the people that do the work get a following behind them, and then they become kind of the leader of the group. And that makes sense. If you want to break up this group, you got to go break up the leader of the
Totally
group.
makes sense. We're talking with America's Mom, Sherronna Bishop. Sherronna, with all the investigation, with all the time, the work, the effort that you, your family, your friends, your organizations have put into things, what should people be very, very, very concerned about right now? Because as Americans, it's very easy for us to be lazy and trust headlines and look at situations. I know your big focus is election integrity, borders, what's happening in schools. So I set you up for that.
I appreciate that. I would say one of the most powerful things we need to hold on to is our right to associate, though. So those topics that you just mentioned are all massively important. They have their own nuances to them. Parents need to be vigilant about their children. If you have them in public schools, pull them out. But the government right now and the cancel culture that you guys started out with is all about the ability to associate. And what they want people to do is not associate with people like me and like you. They want to scare people into not having our backs anymore. At one point, people have said, well, if you just wouldn't be so loud about what you're doing. And I was like, that's actually the opposite thing you should be saying. The First Amendment guarantees our right to association and our freedom of speech. Those things must be protected. If I was a Satanist screaming on the corner about how we're going to do ritual abortions, that speech is happily protected, right? We're seeing that in New Mexico and across the country. But if I'm a mother on a corner saying, stop grooming my child, and I can be arrested, we have to make sure that we're standing by people who are standing up for us and don't allow this whole guilt by association to prevent you from doing what's right. Whether it's in your schools, if you have a principal that's standing up against the transgender ideology, you need to stand with them, even if they make mistakes, even if they don't say the right thing all the time. This is new territory for a lot of people to have to stand up and defend themselves because we turned our power and our authority over to the government. And that's not the way that a constitutional republic works. It requires we, the people, to be fully and actively engaged, standing up and defending our rights so that it doesn't have to become a full-time job for you, Eric, or me with America's Mom.
Right.
This should be all of us engaged in this battle. And absolutely, the heart and soul of the children is the most important thing. The left, the Satanists, the globalists, the uniparty, they know that. That's why they're going after our children the way they are.
Oh.
They're terrifying them. They're traumatizing them. They're making sure that they will never be able to defend this great country. Not only that, but if you guys saw the most recent polling about the patriotism polling, this one is really just breaking my heart. This generation and the Generation X and Z are the least patriotic generations. Less than 16% believe America is a great place to be.
I saw it.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's because they're not teaching
Well, it
patriotism
starts
in
at an early
schools.
age.
Yeah.
Yes, it
And starts with
does.
media messages, which is
Exactly.
why it's, in my humble opinion, Sherronna, one of the most difficult times to be a parent. And parents understand that if you really start to look, start to study at what is going into kids' brains. And then, of course, what you get out of the school systems. And then, of course, oh my God, dare we even bring up what happens in college?
And here's the thing, Vic, about that too, just because people are all about, well, we need to be exploring, big ideas with kids, and they need to know the negative part of our history and all that. There are concepts that kids don't get. That's why we don't talk about sex with little kids. That's why we don't talk about, even slavery. I mean, I don't dive into details about that stuff with my littles right now. They're young. They don't have conceptual ability right now. They don't understand the big picture. These are college conversations, period.
Yeah.
They're not for little kids. And that is what has happened. They're not even for teenagers. Have you met a teenager? Half the time they're irrational. And if they can grab onto an opportunity to be a victim, they absolutely will. It's in their DNA. And the left knows this. The communists who are trying to take over this country, they absolutely know that children naturally go negative. They naturally want to be victims, and they're creating the platform for them to do that by this whole race baiting. I literally had a post yesterday from a school in Colorado, Cherry Creek, Colorado. They are posting up posters all around the school saying every day, I'm not even joking, every day I will think about race, and how my whiteness has given me privilege. Posted in their schools, on the walls. for them to learn to hate themselves. It's amazing.
So we talked about yesterday this thing that's going on in Ashbury, the revival, the prayer vigil that's going on out there. What are the cracks in this liberal armor? I feel like everything they're pushing on us is evil. Maybe I'm wrong, but it seems like when you watch the Grammys and what you're pushing on kids, it's evil. When you look at our government and what they're doing and destroying the U.S. dollar, that's evil. Do you see any light from any direction right now and where we might be able to save our youth and bring this thing back to a positive light? I mean, do you see that maybe it's prayer that might do it? Do you see that it's maybe young conservatives might do it? Is it communities coming together? What is it that brings us out of this, do you think?
I think good times, right? Good times create soft, weak, or we would say weak men. And we've had really good times thanks to the greatest generation of all time. I think it's time for us to have some hard times so we can grow up some really strong men again to take this country back. I absolutely have faith and trust in Jesus Christ that he has a plan for everything that's happening. I don't know where we're at on God's timeline. I'm deeply, deeply encouraged to see people turning to the Lord, though, realizing that we're at this impasse right now where something has to give. And if it's the institutions coming down, there are institutions that do need to fail. The pharmaceutical institution, the university institute, the educational institution, the media institutions. There are institutions that deserve to fail because they are horrible and they're destroying the whole world, not just America. And then there's the establishment that must fall. The old way of thinking is not pertinent to the founding of this country. The old way of thinking is power. It's power driven. It's power oriented. It's anti-Christ. It's anti-God. And establishments do need to fall. They do. I'm okay with that. There's been a lot of argument about institutions versus establishments and what needs to stay, what needs to go. Essentially, elections are local. They're your own backyard. Your community is what matters the most. You know, God never intended for us to be ruled by a king, and America has given themselves back over to a king. Why should we know this much about Donald Trump? Why should we know this much about Joe Biden or Barack Obama or Bill Clinton? We were never supposed to fill the presidency this way ever. We were never supposed to, as states, surrender ourselves to the federal government. There was supposed to be a very clear line in the sand there, but we've given ourselves over. Why? For greed. It's power and money. So thank you. You know, Lord Jesus, come, empower people to stand up for what's right, give them courage. I believe the second greatest gift that God gave us after Jesus Christ was self-determination. Faith without works is dead. So people who sit back and say, I'm just going to pray and see this out, I appreciate that, but we are the hands and feet of Christ. That has never changed. And we are not a democracy. We're not a kingdom. We are a constitutional republic that was hard fought for, bloodshed, and the tears and the prayers of the saints that established that, our forefathers. They expected that we would be these incredible men and women who would fight to save what they worked so hard to give us. And I think that that is the heart of God. He was the one that said to Israel, you don't want a king. You don't know what you're about to do. You don't want a king. That has not changed. The heart of God has not changed. We do not need a king. We've got to stand up for what is ours. We've got to take back the ground, take back our authority, and stand up for what we know is true and right. And stop letting these people come in and literally groom your child to be a victim. I mean, that's just the basis. Jesus said anyone who is going after little children, it'd be better for them to have a millstone hung around their neck and be thrown into the ocean. He's told us what his heart is about children. We live in a free country still, and we need to hold on to that. And yes, I mean, God's principles are unchanging. They're classic. They're timeless. They never, ever change. His heart is still the same. Self-determination is the gift he gave us. We better freaking do something to preserve it.
And you just said the magic word. We have to do something. Too many people tell me I'm praying on it. God will come. God will answer our prayers. But we need prayer and action, and not enough people are willing. They're not enough. They're not willing enough to do the action.
Sherronna, have you considered running for sort of any office in the future? I mean, when the kids get a little bit older, you talk about that uniparty. Is it possible to break through somehow, some way?
So I would never run for a political office. There would have to be an act of God for that to happen. I see a lot of people who get sucked in, and the minute that they get dollars from, BlackRock or whatever, all of a sudden their whole narrative changes. Yeah. I know myself. I think that I would be strong, but I also realize that I'm a really loud voice, and we need loud voices. Exactly. When you run for office, you do have to change your approach. That is a fact. You can't be out there bombastic, because then you're targeted, you're stifled, and you can't get anything done. There is a real element of that. I mean, you've watched it happen with Marjorie Taylor Greene, with Lauren Boebert. They've still been able to get things done, but they also cooled it for a while, if you noticed, so that they could get something done. So I would rather just continue to be an absolutely bombastic edge of the spear, because that is what I think we need right now. And to speak to Tabitha, what you said there, I've always prayed. I've just asked the Lord specifically, Lord, I'm going to forge ahead. I'm asking you to slam the door shut if this isn't the right direction to go, because I don't see in Scripture. There are times when God calls us to prayer and to fasting, and even when He said, these ones don't come out except by prayer and fasting. But you're still working. You're still doing what's necessary every day to live, to have your life, whatever. So I've just prayed that. I've asked the Lord, just slam the door shut if I'm not going on the right direction. I think being in community with other believers, people that you trust, that you can be accountable to, like you guys have, is really vital. And then listening to that and being discerning. But I have counsel that I take. I have people that I reach out to consistently to make sure I don't want to get ahead of myself. Somebody said on here, meekness is what it's about. And meekness is the ability, yes, to come under and to understand when it's time to take a different path, and not be so wise in your own eyes that you just crash through and tear down everything with your own hands. I don't want to be that either. So there is a little bit of a balance there.
Here's the deal. You already got the best brand on the planet, America's Mom. That's number one. Number two, your voice can be captured in books, audiobooks, videos. It can be captured in speaking engagements. You can be one of those people that rally up the sentiment of getting this thing back on track.
Yeah, that's what she's doing.
And I think you're absolutely right. Anyone that wants to be a politician absolutely knows in their heart that they can't make a difference one way or another. You're absolutely right about that. So we thank you for what you're doing. And it's sickening. It's sad that our government took an approach to intimidate you, because you didn't do anything. You basically were living by the Constitution of this country, and you did nothing, yet they terrorized you for 3 hours in your house.
Yeah. Gosh.
And that could happen to any of us. That's why we have to all stand up, because someday it will happen to all of us.
Hey, on a lighter note, I could not imagine being your husband and disagreeing with you. That is for sure. He probably has never won an argument ever.
I said Mexican.
Never.
Mexican food tonight. No, Italian.
Yeah, you say these things to me too.
Yeah, my husband is Vic. You've spoken to my husband, Neil. We do a show, America's Mom and the Mister. We're on after this, actually. And I tell you, we've been married for 25 years. We've been together for almost 29 years. And I have learned a lot from that man. And so, yes, I actually try not to argue with him, because he will actually win.
Tell him we said thank you also. Tell him we said thank you also. And I think this is important, that podcasts and media, they are starting to come together now and form one bigger voice instead of a bunch of little voices. It's kind of amazing what's going on in this country right now. Is there's the conservative voice is the biggest voice in this country. I'm sorry, it just is.
It is. And what Sherronna and her husband and her family, I mean, you didn't wake up one day and go, oh, I'm going to go do all this stuff. In some instances, you were pushed into this, and then you studied and you became the brand that you are. With that being said, can you remind people how they can find you, learn more about you, and what your cause and mission is?
I appreciate that, Vic. I also just want to point out there are millions of moms just like me across this country. They just are not using their voice on a platform. And I just applaud all of you guys. That's why there's any semblance of hope for the future, is because of the love of these mothers and fathers, of course. So yes, you guys can find us. We do our show on Frank's Speech TV on Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, 2 p.m. Central Time. We're on every single platform. You can go to Rumble to watch all of our back shows, americasmom.net to see everything in live time, real time. And then, of course, we still fight the machine on Facebook. We still go live. That's where we started. And I just can't leave it. I can't walk away. I'm like, no, I'm taking it back. Watching Zuckerberg get sued is the greatest thing of my life right now. I can't wait to see him just suffer a little bit more. But yeah, Facebook Live, we're always on there. And we want to be there for parents. We really want to inspire moms to stop worrying about whether or not people like you. It doesn't matter. You have to answer for your children at the end of the day.
How many times have you heard about the song with your name?
I was a waitress. We'll leave it at that.
That's awesome.
I feel your pain.
Sherronna Bishop, America's Mom. thank you so much. You're a superstar. We appreciate it. God bless you, your family, the work that you're doing, and the message that you're trying to get out. Hopefully we can get you back on at some point in time.
Absolutely. We've always got tons of content for years and years. Vic, thank you so much for having me. And thank you for the good work you're doing and stepping into this conservative battlefield, because we need strong, committed, conservative men standing in the gap for us.
Yep, that's right.
Go get him, Vic.
Godly men as well.
That's right.
Sherronna, thank you so much. We appreciate you joining us today. Have an awesome weekend.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Awesome.
Wow. That is a positive Spitfire.
Yeah.
Love
Yes.
her.
Fantastic.
Love her. But you do. I mean,
But to me,
so many of us
You know
can
what?
do the same thing.
to me, listening to her, I'm like, was anybody else in this room listening to her just going, duh? And just, isn't that the first thought that you have? It's like strong country, strong schools, strong family, no one arriving at your door with a sledgehammer to break your door down. Was I the only one in this room going, well, duh?
I don't know what you mean by that.
Well, it means that it's like common sense that there's people that every mom in America doesn't want their kid manipulated. Every mom in this country wants to be able to say whatever they want and to.
But the difference is that most
it's
moms
amazing.
aren't doing it.
I know.
Most moms aren't doing
and
it. And maybe it's not, I'm not putting down moms. It's because most aren't comfortable, speaking out in front of people. A lot of moms don't know what to do.
It's
a lot of
also the
parents are
bubble.
working.
It's also the bubble mentality.
Absolutely.
It's the bubble mentality, and it is the curse of good.
Yeah.
Like everything is comfortable. Nice.
That's right.
Oh, I just want to, I don't want to really, I like my life.
Is that right, Vic?
I like it.
I
And
like to
people are
drink the wine in the
intimidated.
backyard with my friends.
Yes,
Is that what it
this
is?
Because it's
When
all
does
of
that
us.
hit you?
Eric,
When
it's
does that
all
hit
of
you?
us.
When does that hit the soccer moms around the country that go, okay, I've had enough?
Well, and Glenn's right. Dads aren't
when
doing
your life
it either.
changes, when
Yep,
your
when
kids
you're
are
right, yep.
changing.
There
That's
are
right.
more moms speaking out, quite honestly, than dads. There are more women right now speaking out
I agree.
in conservative
I
circles
agree.
than men. We actually, like she said, we need men to
Strong
speak
conservative
up.
men.
Strong, conservative,
Yeah.
God-fearing men.
And where is the government now? Do they have a task force to go shut down all conservative speak?
I can guarantee you the FBI knows who we all are.
They know who everybody is,
well,
not just
no,
us.
but they
have
do you
a file
think,
of
do you
everybody
think
on
they,
the planet.
No, they don't. Do you think that they target liberals? Do you think they target Antifa? No. They're
No.
coming
Well, they
after
know
us.
who they
They're
are.
not breaking down the doors of Antifa members. They're breaking down our doors, the doors of moms with their kids inside with a battery ram. I mean, come on. This is all meant to intimidate. So you know what? So that all the other moms out there will say, well, I don't want that to happen to me, so I better keep my mouth shut.
I don't think you mess with a mom. I think a mama bear will destroy you. If you're
Eric,
messing
how
with
many
their
mama
kids.
bears are out there destroying people?
If you're going
Not
to
many.
Parkway Central,
Sherronna, not many others,
if you're going
unfortunately.
to Parkway Central and you're a mom sending your kid to Parkway Central or Rockwood or whatever here in St. Louis, Missouri, and they find out that you're allowing transgendered men in your daughter's dressing room,
a couple
I think,
speak out.
come
a
on,
couple.
man, come on.
Eric, a couple moms speak out.
I think that moms
By
are smarter
far,
than that.
It's
They
not
are.
that they're not smarter, like we just said. Some aren't comfortable talking on a platform. Some are intimidated. Some don't want to rock the boat. Some think it'll just all work itself
Exactly.
out. There are so many different reasons. I'm not downing moms or dads for not speaking up. I'm just saying they need to start.
Did you know
we
that-
have to start facing, I used to get so frustrated because I would talk about these issues and people, their response to me would be, well, I'm leaving it up to God's will. I'm like, are you kidding me? You have to,
I've heard
praying
things
is
of that.
great,
Here's-
but you have to take action too.
Here's nature. When I lived in Anchorage, Alaska, this is a funny story. There was this, I used to live in this hotel when I moved up there to record. And there was this little path that would take me to 7-Eleven every night, just so they could go down and get a banana and a Coke or whatever. The moose, not bears, not lions, but moose, docile creature in the spring and in the summer, right? They would walk past and you say, hey, moose, how you doing? They would look at you and then they would walk away. As soon as they had their kids, their children were born in the winter, usually for some reason. I don't know why. If you would approach the kid, the moose would kill you. I do believe in my heart that's how soccer moms are as well. If you mess with their kids, if you do something to make them think that they're being brainwashed or something that they are being attacked in a locker room because of transgendered issues, if you make them feel like you are messing with my child, I do think soccer moms will get up and rally.
I would like to agree with you, but it's not happening.
Not yet.
Is it not happening?
I don't
No.
know if you'll see.
Really?
it's-
No.
The moment.
Maybe a handful of people.
It's just like sports, Eric. The
You
moment
don't think
will
that we're having-
define the person a lot of times. When the moment hits, what are you going to do?
You mean to tell
How
me
are
you
you
don't
going to
feel
respond?
you don't feel the vibration?
There's a couple, Eric.
you don't
There's
feel,
a couple.
You don't feel the vibration.
I can
of,
count them on one hand how many
of
there are in this
private
area.
schools and
I mean, not
and
one hand, but
you
I can
don't
count
feel
them
the
all.
vibration of parents talking about private schools more, going to charter schools more. You don't feel
They're
that
talking,
vibration.
But that's exactly
I
it.
feel it.
They're talking about it, and many are doing what they can do. It's not easy for everyone. We have to make it easier for parents, but they're not speaking out like Sherronna is doing, and we need more of that.
Eric, here's the other thing, real quick before we take it. Well, you know what? Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick break. We got commercials. Please.
We're going to shake Eric a little bit.
Yeah, no, please use our advertisers if you're using these products in any case at all. Check out our website, cancelthisshow.com. Even if all the commercials are not running around, cancelthisshow.com. Lots of great companies that are posting with us, that are teaming up with us, because when we come back, we'll get this a little early. We got to take a break because around 9:00, we're going to try why deja vu happens as part of the paranormal.
Yeah, here we
Friday.
go. I need to know this.
And you sound so calm today.
Because
you're getting ready, aren't you?
I'm getting ready.
Getting in the
Deja vu,
mindset.
the feeling that this
Getting
has
in the
never
mindset.
happened before.
I feel like this moment has happened.
Really?
And when we go to break, I go and kick Eric in the back of his little pants. No, I'm
Okay.
kidding.
Okay.
No, Eric,
Now
you have the best spirit of anyone I know.
I'm trying to fix the world.
And you know what? You come up with some really amazing
I've already got Kim Gardner fired. What else do I need to work
ideas.
on?
Oh, she's not fired yet.
Well, she's going. Trust me. Everybody put positive thoughts in the universe.
All right, we'll take a quick break. Canceltheshow.com. MP, Tim. We've got Lizzie Sparks on the chat line. We've got Eric Johnson, Tabitha Hassel, and Vic Faust. Thanks again to America's Mom. We'll be right back right after this with the paranormal part of the show. Deja vu. Why is it happening? UFO hearings still happening and some video from Michigan. Is it UFO? What is going on? Right after this.
This is Dr. Mahesh Bhagway. I'm an orthopedic surgeon here in St. Louis for over the last 20 years. I went to Washington University. I got my medical degree at St. Louis University. From local athletes to injured workers and even Cardinal baseball players, I've treated them all. Our practice strives to personalize care with every new patient being seen by me. To find me, contact my staff at drbagwe.com, DRBAGWE.com. Hopefully you don't need me, but if you do, you can find me now.
You've waited, and now it's here. The unveiling of the latest Carroll House lifestyle collections. I'm Brooke with my sister Amy, inviting you to see 3 football fields of the latest styles.
Our new lifestyle collections are premium quality furniture made exclusively for us and available only at Carroll House.
The attention to detail is unmatched, and so is the value, nearly half the price of a typical gallery store.
Plus, get free financing, delivery, and in-home design. Carroll House, because you like nice things.
White Glove Exotic Services is St. Louis's first concierge vehicle service center. Alex David's team is passionate, certified technicians. They have industry-leading tools and equipment. They do it all. They pick up and deliver your car hands-free. Plus, they have elite detailing service, customized PPF wraps and tinting, and inspection and titling assistance. White Glove also specializes in logistics and storing options, vehicle listings, and consignment. White Glove Exotic Services. Check them out at cancelthisshow.com. Kathy O. Big Strick, owner of Experience Real Estate Partners with EXP, has been one of St. Louis, Missouri's highest selling groups for 26 years running. In that time, Kathy and her team have successfully assisted an incredible 4,000 families. So if you're thinking about buying, building, or selling, be sure to put Kathy's group and their experience to work for you, and you can expect to be moved. Just give her a call at 314-276-SOLD. That's 314-276-7653, or find her online at experience-re.com. Winty's in the Chesterfield Valley, if you don't know, is a family-owned business that has been around since 1994, serving some of the best chicken wings in town, no joke. Also known for their fresh burgers, pizza, and incredible smoked meat. Top-notch happy hour specials are included, plus live music every Friday and Saturday. Oh yeah, you can also enjoy their spacious heated covered patio. It's Winty's in the Chesterfield Valley, 18,000 Chesterfield Airport Road. And hey, guys, welcome back into cancelthisshow.com. I'm Vic Faust with Tabitha Hassel, Eric Johnson here. We've got MP, Tim on the boards as well, Lizzie Sparks on the chat line. All right, great first hour, second hour here. We're switching gears a little bit, talking some more paranormal stuff, UFOs. We'll get into all this kind of stuff that we possibly can. We're getting those things together right now. But at the when you get into these Fridays, as we remember, go to cancel this and cancelthisshow.com. Check out all of our original content at any time of the day. Live show Monday through Friday, 8 to 10 a.m. Central Time. And then, of course, you can catch all of our original content at any point of the day as well. All right, MP, just let me know if we get anybody in. We're good to go. Technical, everything. How about that? We'll take that. Last week, we started to talk about deja vu. Tabitha, you have it every day?
I have it all the time.
Like, your whole life is deja vu.
I think it is every moment.
Anyway, so we had a gentleman who wanted to teach us and tell us why. Do you agree? Do you not agree on this Paranormal Friday? Well, we bring in John. John wanted to explain to us some of the things that happened. And John, what's going on with deja vu? John, are we having a moment? John, if you can hear us, give us a thumbs up. You can go ahead and go on through. Okay, we're not technically ready to go. Just let us know, MP, when we're ready to go with John. And if we can get him in, we'll do that. But it is fascinating when you talk about kids, when you talk about parents, when the first time you actually had deja vu.
Oh my gosh.
And that first time, it's like, what? Was I here?
It's definitely a thing.
I think I read like fifth grade, something I was like, oh my God, is something wrong with me? What's going on?
It's a freaky thing.
And think about it this way. I don't know. How do you, it's kind of a paradox because it's like something that happened in the past, but is happening to you now. So that means that you knew about the future when it happened the first time. You see what I'm saying? It's a bizarre reverse time travel deal.
Reverse time
travel. It is.
It's like a glitch in the Matrix. And I'm telling you what, I don't know about you guys, but have you noticed or have you thought that there seem to be more glitches in the Matrix lately, more than I have ever noticed? There are some strange, weird anomalies going on that make no sense to me.
Okay, here's the deal. Have you guys heard of the Mandela effect? Has anybody heard of the Mandela effect?
I have.
So the Mandela effect, and I know we don't have any video or anything, but it's basically the way you might have remembered something back in the 80s or the 70s or the 60s, such as a logo. And it's fascinating because it's the truth. If I say sex blank the city, what do you think of?
What'd you just say?
If I say the words, the show,
yeah.
sex blank the city, what do you think of?
Yeah.
What is it?
You already gave us this.
What is it?
Because we think, is it sex in the city or is it sex
which one is it?
On the city?
Which one? What do you remember?
Sex. I don't even remember. I didn't.
What was it, Tabitha?
Well, obviously, I would think of the TV show.
Well, what was it?
Sex in the City.
Nope.
It's not.
I know, but I'm saying that's
the
what
Mandela
I would think.
effect. It's sex and.
But what does that
city.
have to do with deja vu?
It has everything to do with deja vu.
I don't get the parallel.
Okay.
Let's talk to John. He's back.
Okay. It has everything to do with deja vu because it's the reality that you live in. You are changing your reality or remembering a reality that you already had.
But that's not the case because my deja vu, I know what's getting ready to happen, and it actually happens to the point where I know what words a person is going to say before they even say.
Then you're remembering.
Were you guys not listening to me last week?
No, we never listen to you.
For God's sake.
The thing about
no, but not that much.
No, we don't.
It
we never
has
listen to the
me
minutia of what
numerous
you're
times.
saying.
Last week, I told you guys about a story where I saw these guys. I knew what was going to happen. The guy turned around.
Well, that makes
and
you
said
psychic.
Something about
that's
no,
different.
I'm not psychic. And I said, "You're from Istanbul," and
that makes you psychic.
I knew that's what he was getting ready to say.
Okay.
It freaked him out so bad he left.
That's different.
I'm not psychic. It's a deja vu.
If you know what
moment.
someone is going to say,
that's what deja vu is, Eric.
No, it's not.
For a lot of people,
it's this weird kind of anomalous feeling that you're like, did this happen before? This feels familiar. That's all it is.
But for some people, deja vu can be such a phenomenal thing that it is where you can see what's getting ready to happen.
Of it.
There are just different degrees. That's
okay.
exactly because I've had the other ones like, gee, this seems really familiar to me. But then the other ones that are so pronounced where it's like, I have done this before. I know somebody's going to walk around the corner and then they walk around the corner. And I think I know what's going to happen next. It's freaky and that's why I started talking about it last week. because it freaks me out.
All right.
I knew Kevin was going to come in the room a few
No,
minutes ago.
that's psychic. That's
No, I'm kidding.
different.
So you're living in deja vu.
I think deja vu and psychic energy are in the same boat. I'm sorry. They're just in the same boat. It's a part of your brain.
Yeah, I
It does
agree
seem
with
more
you.
psychic.
It's in
I agree with Eric.
It's in a
That's-
part of your brain
I
that
agree with
slips
you.
through. Everybody has the ability to be psychic, they say. Everybody has the ability to be in different dimensions. Everybody has this ability, but our brain is only being used by a small fraction of the gray matter
That's
up
absolutely
there,
right.
and we don't know how to trigger into it. So I think it's just the psychic little drop of ooze of oil coming into your subconscious or your conscious.
Well, that's like dreams.
But-
Have you ever had a dream that came true? I've had many. I mean,
Yeah.
they come completely true. You have
Not
a dream,
me. I don't even
and then
dream in color.
then it happens. Oh, yes, you do.
I
Come on.
don't.
You don't?
No, I actively one night, and I think I talked about this not too long ago. I actively said, now this is weird. One night I was lucid enough to say, I'm in a dream. Do I dream in color? I literally asked myself,
Oh
is
my
there
God.
anything in color here?
You and
That
your
is so
dreams and your color
funny.
dreams.
I know, it's weird.
I,
I'm
Did
like
you
a
have
dog.
clothing
I'm a
on
dog.
in your dream?
Anyway. All right.
well,
Anything goes Friday.
one of the Paranormal Friday things too that we've got. Are we good to go, guys? Are we
think-
good? I'm getting mixed messages through the window and from the chat line. I don't want to give a shot if it's going to be bad sound. All right.
It's like never mind. I'm not going to say it. I'll get us canceled.
Do we have somebody in? All right. We'll give it one shot and then we'll see what happens. John, here is your shot. We will give you that shot right now. Guys, no, you got okay. That's it. We're done with John. Anyway, we're gonna move
We
on.
can't
happened
get
to
it figured
John?
out.
What is it? Just
He
technology?
he hasn't figured out how to use
We'll
a
work
camera.
on
in the
it.
last
Is
week.
this the same
He's
guy?
had an entire week.
We'll
And
work on it.
Is this the
next
same
week.
guy?
It's a Friday. I'm staying happy.
Yeah.
That's all
Well,
right.
last week we were talking about deja vu, and John Dady said he had the answers to how deja vu happens and why it happens. And
All right.
we'll work on trying to figure that out. But
no, we're
but
not.
don't you-
It's done.
but don't
we're
you
not going
think-
to have him. He's had a week to figure that out.
don't you think deja vu is part of so many other things?
Yes.
I think John's back.
No.
Oh no,
no,
he's not.
no,
back.
no, no,
Hold
no.
on.
Just
Something else
Guys,
is going
listen
on.
to me. He's gone. We're
Sorry.
done with that
All right,
technical
that's
stuff.
okay. But don't you think deja vu is part of, like Eric said, a whole wider perspective to where, have you, and I'm sure this has happened to you, where you think you're thinking about somebody and 2 seconds later the phone rings and it's that person. Or remember back in the old day when we used the regular dial-up phones and you went to pick the phone up and the person you were going to call was already there and it hadn't even rang. I mean, that has had to have
Yeah.
happened to you 1,000 times.
No,
No,
that's the
Vic,
life you live.
we're going to have to work on your psychic
No,
senses.
I'm fine. I'm fine just how I am.
But I think that's happened to pretty much everyone, but you, Vic.
Yeah.
That's good. We'll stay that.
But you know what?
course.
Maybe because you're too young, you never used those old dial-up phones.
I use.
I do,
dial-up
and I
phones
would-
most
I-
of my life.
I would use a dial-up phone, right? If we could say right now, let's get rid of all cell phones and all TikTok and all stuff like that, I would be like,
You've
done.
lost your mind. Okay, that's fine. You can sit there and wait for it to go.
No. Hold on.
Especially with the 8 and 9 numbers.
I
Eric.
digress.
And Carlene's right. That's maybe intuition. But don't you think intuition, deja vu, and all these other things fall under the same umbrella? All powers of our
Yes.
mind that we're capable of, but we are not using.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. God gives us the abilities that we have, and then if you have something, fine. If you don't go looking for stuff that you don't have.
Yeah. It's like the chakras.
Right. And Aaron, that's not the occult. Picking up the phone and somebody already being there is not occult.
No, but the studying and trying to use
Studying and trying to
be-
use it for a purpose.
What-
I don't
What
even.
a
I don't
great
even
point.
think. I don't even think that's
Wow.
the occult. That's the brain God gave you,
Well, hold
and
on.
maybe we're just not
Wait a
using it to
minute.
the capacity
You know,
that we should.
This is okay.
I don't think that's
Vic gets
on God.
You guys want to see Vic get real uncomfortable?
Well, he is very Catholic.
He is so Catholic. But here's the deal.
I can still
is-
see the ashes on his forehead.
is
No,
how-
I'm kidding.
They
Yeah,
might
where are your
say-
ashes at,
I'm
by the way?
teasing.
Hello.
It's Friday, Eric. I've had 3 showers,
I'm kidding.
but I got a big old.
Okay, I'm
I got
sorry.
I got a big old cross this week.
I bet
mean-
you did.
This woman. I mean, it was. When I got in my
Yeah.
car, I was like,
I need extra
"My
help.
God, I must have been a really bad." I mean, it was like all over my forehead.
It's like ordering a latte. I'll take a quad.
Did you get struck by lightning when you
No.
walked out?
No, go Eric. Go ahead.
But I'm just saying, it's like, okay, you bring up deja vu, you bring up psychic energy that kind of trickles into your brain that you don't know how to work with it, right? So it's there, right? If it's there for deja vu and it's there for psychic energy, it's there, correct? So the point is this: if you try to go out there and say, all right, I want to explore this, I want to make this more of a part of my life, I want to see if I can make psychic energy happen, does that in turn, does that make you a sinner of some sort? Is that blasphemous? Do you think it's blasphemous to believe in the secret? Whatever you say in your mind, you manifest?
No, because you know what, Eric?
Because you're not going through Jesus, then you're going through your own mind. You see what I'm saying?
God made you to be able to use your own mind. And you know what? That comes back to the power of energy, just like the power of prayer. I'm telling you, I know prayer works. I've seen it work. I know it works. And I'll tell you what, the power of prayer, I believe, is because we collectively come together and pray for one person, and that's our energy focusing on that person through God.
Yeah.
And that's why prayer works. And so it does work.
And it always has to be positive, correct? So you can't.
It has to be positive.
It always has to be positive.
But yes and no, because if you put negative energy out there, guess what? Negative is coming back to you.
But that's not religious, though. No, that's not a religious principle.
It's not.
That's an energy of the universe.
I don't think so. I think that is. I think that all relates back to God and to religion.
But
I don't think so.
Tabitha, you had a video as part of the Paranormal
I
Friday
do have a video
that you wanted to set. MP, are we ready to run the video? Tabitha's going to set this up as part of our Paranormal Friday.
Yes, because we have been talking so much about the investigations going on, the congressional hearings into UAPs, unidentified anomalous Ps, whatever those are.
What are Ps?
Phenomenon. And so UAP used to be, of course, UFO. But finally, we're starting to get some answers. These congressional hearings, even though we don't hear about it on the news all the time, they are ongoing. They continue to take place. People, fighter pilots, which we're going to talk about today, continue to testify. And the government is going back to 1945. And these fighter pilots and all of these witnesses from back in the day are finally, for the very first time, able to tell their story. And this clip we're going to show you is that
Obama?
It is Obama. It's about various presidents.
You're bringing up an Obama video? Good job.
Well, you know what? What's even funnier about that is don't panic when his little part, you can't hear so much out of him. You can hear the folks after him. And it was not me that bleeped him out.
So these are presidents talking?
Presidents and other higher figures talking about Ariel.
Okay, go ahead. Run this thing. Run this sucker. Make this a reality. And there's a spinning wheel of death right there. Nobody wants.
At least it's not the blue
not even the
screen
internet
of
wants to hear Obama talk.
Isn't that the truth?
I'm just kidding. Obama was cool.
Tabitha, did you check this before you sent it?
I did. I watched it twice.
Okay.
This is definitely.
We've never had a circle like
never.
It's the UAPs above the building.
Oh my God!
Saying you can't hear this.
Never have we had a video not start.
Well,
okay. Shh. I'm quiet now.
Okay.
And records of objects in the skies that we don't know exactly what they are.
But there are things flying around.
MP.
Russia and China clearly didn't have those in 2004 when some of these things were cited and recorded.
And we take reports of incursions into our airspace by any aircraft, identified or unidentified, very seriously and investigate each one.
Is there something else that we simply do not understand that might come extraterrestrially?
This is a technology that we don't completely understand, and it seems to be defying our understanding of physics. It appears to be more advanced than our own technology, but that's never a good thing from a strategic point of view.
If it is otherworldly, we will have internal controls in place to protect us and to engage in the event that that happens.
They are absolutely convinced that they saw something. They locked their radar onto it. They followed it, and then all of a sudden it would move.
But what's more important, Trey, is that the number of sightings and recordings that have been picked up by what we call multiple sensors, that is visual, radar, ISR, satellite.
Lieutenant Graves says the way the larger craft suddenly rotates at 90 degrees is unlike anything he had ever seen.
And if you turn yourself all the way like this, kind of knife blading, you have none of the lift that your wings would provide you. They're up there when we take off.
That's right.
They're doing their thing for our hour and a half, maybe 2 hour flight. And then we land, and my buddy that takes off an hour later is seeing the same things.
It was so unnerving because
it was so unpredictable. High G, rapid velocity, rapid acceleration. So you're wondering, how can I...
I'm starting to get it.
It gives you the idea.
We heard enough of it.
I'm starting to get it. Okay, here's the deal.
That
They're
music
right.
that's Tabitha's theme music.
I
She
love
walks
that.
around.
I think
to
I'm
that
going to
music
start playing
all
that
day
with
long.
a little headset on.
So you have to break this down intellectually. As a pilot, I do realize that for anything to fly from the technology that we have on this planet, you have to have three forces. You have to have thrust, drag, and whatever the other one is. But there's a video out right now, and I saw it. And I've never seen it before, but it was a very high definition 4K video of like this diamond object. It was a diamond. It was a diamond. It looked like a diamond, Vic. And it was an Air Force pilot following this thing. And you could tell he was following it by the heads up display.
A lot like the Octagon they just shut down.
And I was like, this is not the Tic Tac video. This is something different. This is not the Tic Tac video where you go, well, that could be a drone. It could be an ultrasonic missile. It could be something else. This one was weird. This had no principles of flight whatsoever. It didn't have any propulsion. It was just like, think about
like the objects they just shut down.
Yeah, but again, on this show, let's only talk about the things that we know about.
Well, we do know that because they told us
Let's only talk about the things that we've seen. Now, this is a video. It could have been manufactured. It could have been faked, but it was the first high definition video I ever saw of one of these things from an actual heads up display. And I was like, there you go. That's either China being able to mess around with anti-gravity.
It's not China.
It might be.
Well, we know it's not.
It might be Russia.
No,
it could be Germany.
We know it's not. Because
Germany was the first to put missiles in the air in World War II.
It is confirmed that it's not. Because if you listen to these congressional hearings, The Hill just did a big report on the congressional hearings. They are saying that in 26 years of them witnessing all of these, what they're now calling UAPs, they said they absolutely have confirmed that these are not related to foreign governments. The first one that was related to a foreign government was the Chinese balloon that was shot down a few days ago. And you can read that because they just released a report on it.
Do we trust our government?
No.
But with that being said,
but I think
the possibility always exists that it could be technology.
I think
either our own or somebody else's.
Well, of course, we always have that in the back of our head.
So we always have to remember
be lying to us. But then we have all of these fighters. You know, just recently, a former U.S. Navy FA-18 fighter pilot, he witnessed a phenomena. There were two of them that recently gave testimony as part of these UFO hearings in Congress. And both of them gave different testimony. Both of them said this happened like back in the 60s, 1967. In that time range. Both of them said this is the first time we've ever been able to tell our story, what we saw. And think about this. This was back in 1967. And they saw, two of them gave two different stories. One of them saw an object that they could not describe, a cylindrical type object, very similar to what we hear was just shot down. And it was flying over military bases. And it was actually turning off nuclear warheads, turning them off. They were on, and when this thing flew over, they turned off. And then another one shot down a missile.
Did you ever see the
with a light beam?
That was the one I was going to bring up. Now that one's
well, this was back in the 60s, though. It's happened many times since then.
So there was this camera that was tracking a intercontinental missile. And basically, there was this little object that was like Tabitha said, and you guys got to go search this stuff. Unfortunately, we don't have the assets to play it right now. But go search this video of something that is tracking a missile, probably going a good 1,000 miles an hour, and it's basically taking the warhead and destroying it. And I'm like, what the hell is that? And it's literally this video. Have you seen that yet?
No, I haven't.
Can you pull that up for Vic to see after the show or something like that?
That's why I don't have it ready.
It's crazy, Vic. It's literally.
Well, you can take some time if you can find it.
I will, but I would rather tell you this first because we can look at those.
What, guys,
there's so many videos. We could look at those.
Well,
all
that
day
one
long.
is fast.
Both of the listeners have probably seen it or can find it.
Well, I don't know. I just saw it in the one that can you guys look up UFO blows up missile? Is there a way that you guys can find that? I mean, if you can,
I'd love
whatever.
I'd love to check it out because Tabitha, believe it or not, I've never seen it. I've never seen UFO blows up missile.
Oh yeah, and there's more than one video out there like that.
Because that's not the corporate media video that will ever
Correct.
get shown. And
Correct.
it's so unfortunate because
Exactly.
it's crazy. And another thing about the 2 or 3 objects that got shown in your defense, there's a U-2 spy plane pilot that took a selfie with the one Chinese
that was
balloon.
the legitimate Chinese
Correct.
balloon. Correct.
Well, where are the
I
other?
did see that.
Where are the other selfies?
Exactly. Where
are
they?
the other selfies?
And we heard what
Okay?
Senator Kennedy said.
Yeah.
So this past week, okay, there's a group out there. They're called the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, ODNI. That is the group, the congressional group that is over these UAP hearings.
Okay.
They recently released a report last week. They just published this new report. And I haven't had time to look through the entire report. But I will tell you what, their ultimate conclusion was? This is their ultimate conclusion. Let's see here. It said objects demonstrating extreme capabilities routinely fly over our military facilities and training ranges. We don't know what they are, and we are unable to mitigate their presence. And we have not determined in 26 years that any of these objects are related to a foreign government or capability we, the United States, have or other militaries have. And like to Vic's point, obviously, if they have some crazy military vehicle, they're not going to tell us about it.
Yeah.
And I do think some of the sightings people have seen have been military.
Well, we're getting more and more accounts of people who allegedly were ex-military, ex-CIA, ex-FBI, sworn affidavits taken care of, that they couldn't talk about things that they have seen, things that they have heard, everything from the Nephilim, the giants underneath military bases, working with U.S. officials for the war that's coming with God. I mean, you get all kinds of things, to ex-Delta Force, ex-Navy SEALs going to hunt Antarctic
That's right.
creatures, going to hunt Bigfoot in areas, and they sound so believable.
Yeah.
And the people who are doing these videos are doing him so well. So it leaves that suspicion. What could it possibly be? Hey, MP, when you get a chance, please, could you guys get that video ready? This is from Detroit just a couple days ago that I was told to check out from the night sky. Now, you're not going to see a UFO, but what the hell is going on in the sky? Check this out.
Can you guys make that full screen, please? Is that possible?
I don't know that that's possible.
Well, what the hell is that? What is that, Vic?
Exactly. That's what I was told.
Where's
to
Elliot
look at.
Davis when we need him?
Now, there was a storm that was getting ready to happen.
Okay, it's lightning. Boom.
What is
But
that?
But that's not lightning.
that's not lightning. That's just the key.
That's the awakening of Frankenstein.
And
in the
if you can
distance.
continue, just play that for a second. Keep doing it so we can check that out.
That's wild.
How long
looking.
did this go on?
I don't know. We're looking at it now.
It's definitely lightning. We're in the middle of a storm, but this lightning has been red and green and blue. I've never seen anything like that. Ever. Like, am I tripping?
Yeah, I want to see that.
We are
Can
experiencing.
you start that again?
That's pretty wild looking.
I've never seen lightning like this. If that's lightning,
But look at it; it's kind of blue and purple
No,
and
it's
red.
not lightning. It's not lightning.
That's not
Look,
lightning.
Look at the stationary side of that beam.
Okay, that wasn't normal, right?
What is that, Vic?
Could it
I
be
need
like
to
a
know.
nightclub?
I don't know. That's
spotlight?
why I'm showing it.
It could be a rave.
Raves going on all across the country, right?
It could be an EDM festival.
They do have a massive
Alien
EDM
raves.
concert that happens in Detroit,
is
but it's
that?
during the summer, not during February. This was from 2 nights ago, February 22nd.
Could this be related
It's
to all the
definitely lightning. We're in the
hummingbird
middle of a
reports
storm,
of
but this
across the
lightning
world?
has been red and green and blue. I've never seen anything like that.
There's a lot of stuff going on, especially up in the CERN area when it comes to these big.
Thank you for
atmospheric
showing
things.
that,
Yeah,
guys. We
that's
appreciate
awesome.
it. Just to get an idea. It's just, hey, you know what? That's kind of
So what do we
take
do
a
with
look
all
at
this
videos.
information now? Do we just watch it and go, "Wow, that's interesting," and then go about our day?
Well, I think that we need to pay attention. I don't think that there's going
Well,
to
just
be any revelation that we're not even already don't. I think most people I've talked to,
Yeah.
pretty much 99.9% say they absolutely believe that extraterrestrial life does does exist, that they do have flybys here in our country or in our world, and maybe they're even more involved. Maybe some people even think they're here amongst us. I think that's the consensus. But Eric, these pilots that are speaking out, they're saying it's time for the government to tell us the truth.
When I was doing my flight training in Seattle, Washington, there was a part of from Seattle to Wenatchee. There was I don't remember how far it was, but pilots would fly between these two little airports and say they saw stuff all the time. Like they would see stuff come into their peripheral, follow them for like 5 seconds, and then disappear.
You hear those reports all the time.
But see, then you get back and you're talking to these guys. I never saw it, but multiple guys, maybe 4 or 5 of these pilots that were flying these little mail planes from Wenatchee to Seattle, and they were like, "Yeah, we saw it again. Hey, Hal, did you see that thing? Yeah, it came in. I saw it coming. I think
it's so common these days.
Is it common?
It appears to be fairly common. Yeah. Yes.
I mean, but it's like it's so frustrating. It's like to me, it's like the government won't release the Kennedy, the shooting of John F. Kennedy. They know all the information, but there's files. It's 50 years later. We should be able to see this.
And that's
stuff.
Like why Vic said we don't trust the government.
And I think that comes down to Vic. And then if they do know this, if they did pick something up at Roswell, and you do know
I believe they did,
and you're playing cat and mouse with us, if you already know, but you're doing these hearings,
they know, Eric.
That's what you got to square.
That's why they're doing the hearings.
Okay, so that's the problem. You have to square the two. If the government, the army, or whoever picked up that stuff, and if you know. Why aren't you telling us?
Most people,
and if you know, why are you lying to us in these congressional hearings and saying
they're not lying to us? They're telling the truth in these congressional hearings. The problem is people aren't paying attention. They're not looking it up. Do you remember the guy that I told you guys about that told me about Flight 93 being shot down? He worked directly for the joint.
Here we go.
I know.
No. Here we go.
He worked directly. How did you have that ready?
Good job.
He worked directly for the Joint Chief of Staff. I'm not going to reveal his name because his name would be familiar. He was a former general. And this guy had the
General
highest,
Flynn?
It was not General Flynn.
Okay.
He had the highest security clearance possible in our military. And I fed him a bunch of shots one night and asked him about aliens.
Uh-oh.
And what he explained to me is that he's never seen anything. He's not seen the files. He said people at his rank in the government, they know that aliens exist. They know that extraterrestrial life exists. They know there's UFOs. He knows that Roswell actually happened.
Okay.
But he said that he has the capability of going to any Air Force base and looking through any file they have because he has the highest security clearance as a general for the Joint Chief of Staff. And so he said that he went to Area 51 and he said there is nothing at Area 51. He said there's nothing there.
Okay.
There's nothing there. There's no aliens there. It's just new technology.
It would be somewhere else if it existed.
It's at Wright Air Force Base. He said everything about UFO technology is at Wright Air Force Base, even him. And I think he said it goes several levels below the ground. But even with his security clearance, he's not able to access any of the information.
That's what I said. I've said it before. I was told, Vic, when you're over at Boeing, try to get him to take you all the way
and
down.
That's where this guy was working.
Because the technology... This is why I always say I take it with a grain of salt because there's so much technology that we don't know about, we're not told about. And to think how smart and educated we've become in so many areas, what's to say it wouldn't happen when it comes to flight?
Okay.
What's to say those things don't exist? Eric, our incredible producers found found video.
Uh-oh.
I don't know if it's your video, but it was a missile taking out, or it was a UFO taking out a missile.
Did you find it, guys?
I think they said they did. Let's check it out.
And to think that it happens so often, there's many videos like this.
Vic, watch this.
If this is the one, I don't know.
Make this thing full screen.
It's more than that.
What the hell is going on? The UFO is hitting its forehead. Eventually, it takes it out.
And that's not technology in other countries.
Not a laser beam? It is. Okay, so it's like working on the warhead. Well, eventually it goes up.
out. I think
I've never seen it blow up. I think
Can I see the beginning of that
I think
again?
it just falls
I'm
to
sorry.
the ground.
So
Happening since the 60s. Not new.
what the hell is that one?
This is
Oh, then that one's going
there
down.
are many videos. They're all
and Russia, they let it fail. Care about that?
well, you know, this predators in Ukraine, they look at these guys with UFOs every day.
Look at how it tracked
Yeah.
perfectly.
Yeah,
And
It's
it
like
suits around it.
It has
It looks
like a stationary pole. That is incredible technology. I see like
That is not how
okay. So
And
here's
this
the
is,
deal.
Thank
Eric,
you, guys.
This is one of the things they testified about at the congressional hearings. And the fighter pilot said they've been seeing this for 26 years.
It toys with
It's not new.
with motion and spatial displacement. Like it's when you look at that, it would think, man, you're traveling literally at Mach 2, maybe. You're traveling 2 times the speed of sound in a little object right by a nuclear warhead, and yet you're just playing with it like it's this little baseball bat in the
Like
middle of a
we
field.
would do if a little bug ran across the room.
Exactly.
Exactly like
And that talks to me about, man, the human brain isn't even, we don't even have the ability to ask the right questions. We don't even have the ability to ask what is going on. It's, again, I go back to
But so many people have their minds closed, Eric, and they think, well, that
Not-
can't even be possible. There's a lot of people out there who probably think we are absolutely nuts.
Maybe.
Probably more me than you guys.
Okay, well, I think 20 years ago, if you were to show a fighter jet tracking a Tic Tac, I think people would be going, "Oh, you're nuts!" Now I got to get back to watching. I got to get back to watching the Cosby Show.
We can understand right now that our government, other governments have some crazy technology. But did they in 1967? No, they did not.
I'll tell you what,
and this was happening then.
There's a lot of people, if Dick Ford didn't say it back in the 80s, it didn't happen. And that's kind of the mentality that we're going through right now. If the guys in the news if they're not saying it, the Lester Holtz, the whoever is on your Sunday morning show, if they're not saying it, it's not real. And until that happens, until Fox News comes out with their legitimate news guy, or NBC comes out with their legitimate news guy, and Lester goes, tonight over Jamaica, we had a blah, 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 blah. Then maybe people will start to open their eyes. But until then,
well, why? You know why though, Eric? The information is out there. You don't need Lester.
You
Holt to
don't
tell
understand what I'm saying.
I know.
It doesn't matter.
I do understand what you're saying, and it's people like us that go out and seek the
yeah,
truth.
but we are like the more,
or I should say, people like me.
We are 0.001% of people that actually give a damn about this stuff.
No, we're not. That's why Fridays are so popular. So many people care about this stuff. So many people believe that UFOs or extraterrestrial life exist. So many people want answers. Why do we hear all this humming in different parts of the world? They want answers. Why is it that we have these sinkholes forming in different parts of the world? Why do we see all these weird phenomena with lights? And more so now than ever before.
Did you do the humming
Every
part?
year, there's more.
Did you even know that you guys heard those wicked sounds that like are over in Europe and Yugoslavia, and then they film it and it's like a bunch of battle horns in the background?
Costa Rica right now is experiencing not only a humming, but a vibration that people
and
can
so
feel.
in Missouri.
And here in Missouri
hello,
as well.
welcome to your backyard.
And Eric, to your point, people think they hear like music playing, like trumpets and loud horns,
That's
and
not
no
good for
one
the Catholics, I'll tell
can
you that.
explain. No one can explain it.
No, if it's a vibration, be very careful about low vibrations. And I'm not playing with you. 60 cycle hum on down. And if you know anything about the human physique or physiology, you understand that a vibration can make you depressed. It can make you suicidal. It can make you unproductive. It can, if it's a high vibration, if you're hearing high vibrations and it's subconsciously hitting you, you can get very much accomplished. It's a lot of people use vibrations to kind of control other people.
But why is it happening like this? Is
I
it
don't
the
know.
government doing
I don't
it?
know.
Is it a natural phenomena that we
Yeah.
can easily explain?
It's a
Is it the aliens
it's a-
underground preparing to evacuate because we're getting ready to blow ourselves up
it's
with
an
nuclear
auditory
weapons?
contaminant. It's like the ambassadors that were in Cuba that were getting fired at by these weird things that were giving them headaches. They were basically making them lethargic. It was getting them sick. Do you remember that the frequencies that were being shot at the hotel in Cuba?
Well, now that's even more common now, where they have people being assaulted by noise. Governments right now
What?
are, yeah. As a matter of fact, I just read a story the other day about cruise ships. I didn't even know this. A lot of cruise ships are armed with some type of sound weapon to where if pirates try to take over the ship, they can assault them with noise.
Oh, I can see that.
And so
Oh God, yeah, that's what they did in Operation Desert Storm.
It's so wild to me.
Yes.
What was it they were playing at the presidential palace? Weren't they like blasting loud music of I think it was like Milli Vanilli or something like that.
Who knows?
It was so stupid. But vibrations can destroy somebody. They can break them down.
But
it's like water torture.
Are all of these different things happening at a higher frequency than what they used to be?
I don't know.
Or are we just hearing about them
Don't
more?
know.
And does it all lead up to
what
something?
kind of things
The
happening more
combination of seeing more UFOs, the
Well,
combination
you got some more cell phone cameras.
of hearing these hums and the horns and the big booms that people hear from underground. There's a lot of folks right here across the river in Illinois who hear big booms. I mean, is all of this leading up to something? Is there something going on that we don't know about and maybe the extraterrestrial folks do, and they're coming back here to watch it all unfold? Or is there a reason why they're flying over military bases and disarming missiles and disarming nuclear warheads? Are they over Ukraine right now in such an extraordinary number because they know we're at this critical point in our world where we could destroy ourselves?
The only thing that makes me feel as if there is something is the fact that presidents have gone and said there's something, but then stop right at the
That's
that
right, because
edge.
they all know.
That's something.
Let's go find Trump and ask.
that something is around. There was a big classified report that Donald Trump was ready to talk on something.
Yes, that's right.
And then he didn't at the last moment. So when you get stories like that, you're like, oh, maybe there's something there. Maybe it continues to keep us on the edge of our seats.
Why won't they tell us?
I don't, because they
Are they
want us
worried about
thinking.
people panicking? And would you panic? I wouldn't. I could care less.
You would. What are you going to do?
I mean, exactly. What are you going to do? They're not going to come
are
and
you
laser
going
beam
to
us.
do?
So the thing about the vibrations, all you got to do to learn about it is in the old days. When I say old days, the ancient days, the Tibetan monks basically got into these trances using bells. Right, the bells were of a certain frequency that they would play 24 hours a day to get them to go, whether it was out of their body or whatever it was. And that kind of that then spurred across the world for hundreds and hundreds of years. And then we got into the last 200 years and we've screwed everything up. But vibrations can be the most positive, uplifting, energetic thing on the planet. If these vibrations are nefarious somehow, because how do you create a hum out of nothing? Where do those come from?
But is it natural? It could just is
and
that
that's why
just
I'm
a
asking
natural
you.
earth
Wait a minute.
sound?
Where's it come? Where's a natural earth sound come from?
But is there some? Well, because the earth is a living being. The earth is living, and you have to remember in our core, there's a lot going on in the inner core of the earth. I mean, you have to think about all these big sinkholes. Look at some of the sinkholes that have happened in different parts of the world where they're so deep they don't even know where they end. And
that's because of aliens?
No, I don't.
Are
I mean,
giants
I don't think so.
stepping in them and making huge holes?
I don't think so.
It's because of water.
But I mean, for all we know, we could be a
table.
little dust bug sitting on somebody's table. I mean, who knows?
You definitely are a dust bug on the table. That's for sure. You're almost as tall as a dust bug.
Oh, funny.
I'm just teasing.
Hey, we're gonna try one more time. Let's try with John. We had other topics we were trying to pick up with. We're gonna give one more shot for the deja vu. I think I've had this moment before. I feel like this, and I feel like it's a success. I think I think we're going to be good. You guys let me know when you see him.
I see John.
All right, John, good morning. Welcome in to Cancel This. How are you doing?
Well, I'm doing better now. I had to use
we hear
Google
you.
Chrome because Microsoft Edge was working with your system.
That's not my problem. I don't want to know anything about that.
I went
So
ahead
what
and-
you said that you're an expert on deja vu, and what happens with this?
Well, I don't know if anybody's truly an expert, but here's deja vu. And a lot of y'all talked about it over various different shows. Deja vu is when you feel like you've been someplace or done something before, but you know you haven't talked to that person, seen that event. You've never realized it's like you're living it over a second time. That sound about right to you all?
That's about right. Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, you are living it over a second time. The first time you experienced it was when you were in your spiritual form and you're out doing whatever it is. You may or may not remember your trip, but everything that you experience is stored in your subconscious, even spiritual form when you're out of body. Now, let's use Tabitha's favorite word, matrix. Okay. So there is times, me, it's when it's really, really important, but there are times that sometimes in real life, as you're experiencing something, that experience comes from your subconscious to your conscious level, just seconds before you actually start experiencing it in real time. So you feel like you're experiencing it the second time when you know you never did it the first time. Because that's all that is that event, whatever it is triggering that subconscious memory that you had, that you acquired while out of body.
And I want to make sure I clarify this, John. Are you saying that, I thought maybe you were going with a parallel life, but so you're trying to say that we, in a spiritual world before we were born, we already had this destiny planned out before us. It was already ingrained in our brain, and we're just getting a glimpse of what that is before it happens. Am I getting that right?
No.
I didn't think I was right.
I've never seen anything that says our destiny is pre-programmed or predetermined.
Well, then when was I out of my body to see these things? Because it happens to me all the time.
Okay. Have you ever had the sudden sensation or rush of waking up suddenly?
Probably.
She says she wakes up with curly hair, so
I
she
do
thinks
wake up
somebody's
sometimes
doing
with curly
something
hair.
Different. That's sleepwalking.
I don't, this stuff even affects people with no hair. So, that's neither here nor there. But I'm half bald. I, still do this. But go ahead, Eric.
No, I'm just going to say, do the timeline for me. So spiritual out of body, something happens so that you're in a different dimension. I mean, how do you equate time? So time, the linear of time.
There isn't any. When you're in your true spirit form, that's what we are, spiritual energy.
Yes.
There is no time. There is no distance. You can go anywhere, do anything. I mean, anywhere. Okay.
So
not
just subconscious.
I did walk 25 miles one night in my sleep.
So basically, this is just an this is an accidental viewing of something that we have no control over.
Some people have a lot of control over it. I haven't gone in depth on that because, frankly, like I was telling a friend last night, if I could have absolute control over it every time I wanted it, see, you learn a lot of things when you're out of body. Okay. Yeah. And you learn a lot of information of things that haven't happened yet. Who are you going to share that with? I have tried over the decades of my lifetime to share information that I was given with other people. And they think I'm crazy. And then yet sometime later, these things do occur. And then they ask me, how come I knew? I says, because I went here and I learned this. My journey is always about knowledge. When I go out of body, I'm seeking to learn. There are times when I've gone out of body because I needed to find something, I needed to know about something, and I'm that literal fly on the wall.
I thought I saw you.
How do you go out of body?
Yeah. How do you go out of body?
Well, with me, again, people can be trained to do this at will. Like I said, I'm not going to do that because I don't need that additional burden of knowing
This is a
these
true story he's saying right now. This is kind of like the remote viewing people we were talking about.
Remote viewing, Eric, you're right. Remote viewing, and it does work, is when you're awake. You're awake. Given a blank piece of paper, or a piece of paper says, we need you here and learn this. Yes, that's real. That's when you're projecting your spiritual energy to a certain place and time and event. That does happen. The government's been doing it for years.
Yeah, true story.
Okay, it is a great tool. So you're right about that. Now, your normal, everybody's heard that saying, sleep is a little slice of death, correct?
I don't know about that. Hopefully you're wrong. Is it true?
Yes, it is. What that means is when you're sleeping in your sleeping state and you're the most relaxed, that's when you are free to be yourselves again and just pop out, do whatever. When I'm out of body, I never want to come back. It's not like I have a choice at this point in time. But you're free to literally be yourselves who we are. Because when we die, we just become who we already are, which is spiritual energy.
Wait a minute.
And
So are you talking that you have? It sounds to me like you know what you're doing. Like you could, on a moment's notice, you could just kind of go floating over to Portland, Oregon, if you wanted to.
I wouldn't waste my time on Portland, Oregon.
Okay, not Portland, but can you right now just go into a trance and get out of your body if you wanted to?
No, I have purposely avoided learning how to do that. Because like I said earlier, you learn things, you see things. And
what have you seen?
There's nothing you can do about those things. You can't share your knowledge with normal people because they'll think you're nuts.
No, go ahead. We're nuts. Trust us. We don't care. Tell us when you have left your body. Tell us some of the weirdest things that you've seen. Like, oh my God.
Yeah, we have a couple minutes left. So yeah,
because I'm going to visit Eric later on today.
I haven't had any. Oh my God, this is no. All my experiences have been positive because I learn, I see, I do. There's a favorite place I've gone to, I don't know, hundreds of times. Just started when I was a child, and it usually does with people, but I never outgrew it because I have this spiritual base. But I'll go to this, I don't know where it is. All I know is I'm sitting under, the infamous knowledge. Everybody knows what that looks like. And there's anywhere between 4 and 6 spiritual energy beings, and I'm right there with them. They communicate without talking. There's no reason for it. When you're in spiritual energy, everything is done through that energy. You have no body.
Maybe it's the aliens.
No, it's not the aliens.
Now you're being silly.
No, I'm not being silly. There's a lot of people who believe that when you see these things, it's actually the aliens were here before us, and they are the ones that have.
And the aliens could be fallen angels.
Yeah, I'll talk to you later about that. If you want to talk out there about that, I will share. Give you some.
She wants to talk to after the show.
This has nothing to do with aliens. This is us. This is who we are. When you're having your deja vu, I'll give you an example. This has saved me a lot. I've driven millions of miles. And one time I was getting off the Broadway Bridge in Kansas City, heading up north.
Yeah.
And just through the toll booths. And I'm following a gas tanker fuel to the side of me, pulling one of the trailers. And I thought, just boom, I have to get away from him. This thing is going to blow up.
Right.
I took off as fast as I could. I couldn't stop the guy or slow him down and say, dude, you got to stop because your trailer's going to disconnect. Because who's going to listen? Absolutely nobody. But maybe a minute later, and I'm up at the top of the hill looking, there was an explosion, big ball of fire. I was home about 15 minutes later, turned on the news. That tanker blew up. I knew it was
that a premonition? Is that because you had dreamed about it before?
Psychic?
Was it psychic?
I've seen it before.
You're confusing
Like
us
deja
even
vu.
more
So
now,
it was
right?
deja vu. You've seen it play out before, and you knew what was going to happen.
I saw it before out of body.
That's a premonition.
Oh, I see.
No, it's not a premonition.
It's not a premonition.
You learn these things when you're out of body. A premonition is like completely different. It's not on the same level. Okay. When you all of a sudden, this happens to me hundreds and hundreds of times over the years. Get out of this lane, slow down, speed up. There's going to be a wreck. I avoid it. Okay. Put up the window because there's going to be something flying any second now. Like the worst thing that would have killed me was a 2x4 that got flipped up on the interstate. And I immediately opened the windows and it hit my driver's side window. That
It's like Minority Report. It's kind of like the Minority Report. You know what's going to happen in the future, so you go arrest people so the crime doesn't actually happen.
Something weird like that kind of happened to me. I didn't see anything, but the other night I was driving home from work about 10 p.m., driving down Highway 270, and there was this car in front of me that swerved really bad and almost hit another car. And I thought, man, these people are drunk. I should go around them. And I was getting ready to cross 2 lanes and go around them. And I thought, you know what? I'm not in a hurry. I'm just going to stay here. And right when I did, this motorcycle came flying past me. Had I moved lanes, I would have ran right into that guy.
Yeah.
I didn't even see
That's
him.
How is it that
so
you?
fast
How
down
is
the
it
highway.
that you always
No, this was
attract
not
traffic problems and traffic
I know.
situations?
And
Because she
I was
can't
like
see
the only
over the
person on
steering
the
wheel.
highway.
Yeah, there could be a point there.
No,
Eric.
that was not a deja vu. I didn't see something happen. It was just like this little thing in my my head said, "Don't get over right now."
That's a
I'm glad you
premonition.
didn't.
And I
Rebecca.
saved a motorcyclist's
Premonition.
life.
Okay.
Now, we all know about guardian angels, like Bendy just chimed in guardian angel. Yes, I believe in angels, obviously. But when you're out of body and you're learning these things that haven't happened yet, and then you get those so-called premonitions, but they're not, and you're able to avoid a situation that would have been catastrophic for you, maybe we are our own selves, our guardian angels.
Okay, John.
Oh,
We
man,
appreciate
you know what?
you jumping in today, man.
You know what these conversations remind me of? You ever seen Abbott and Costello, Who's on First?
Every morning.
That's what these conversations, it's just built to confuse you even more. Who's on first?
No, Eric, just let it soak in for a day or two and think about it. And think about your
John,
personal
John,
experience.
I hung with you up until the point where you said us humans are guardian angels. I'm sorry.
No, I didn't say
wrong,
human.
really.
I did not say humans. When we're out of our body spiritually and we're experiencing these things, and you get that warning, that feeling that you got it, like what Tabitha was doing, like things I've experienced hundreds and hundreds of times. Maybe that's us out of body, and we're having this. It's not a permanent. We already saw it out of our body. So I didn't say people are on guardian angels because we're just in this carbon-based life form to experience life that we
I
cannot
90% agree with him, because once you get out of your body, they say, here's what they say, that linear time becomes nothing.
It does. It's
You
nothing.
understand what I'm
No
saying?
one knows.
And when
That's
that,
just a
if linear
speculation.
time can literally
No,
be
it is
nothing,
speculation, Tabitha. You
Well,
need
who
to talk
knows?
to more. What I do.
uh-oh.
Okay.
Wow.
With thousands of times being out of body and going places. It's like Lizzie said last week. She started getting them about at 5 years old. By the time she was 30, she got them no more. Well, I believe this. When we're in the womb, we're as close to God as we're ever going to be in this reality. Okay. And as you get older and you start all the environment and the negativity and the hate in our society, and people who aren't true believers, they kind of beat it out of you. They depress you, or it suppresses your feelings of who we really are,
Correct.
which is spiritual beings. And like I've said for years, we're in a war. We're in a spiritual war in this country against good and evil.
That's right.
And I have felt this my literal entire life and been warning about certain things my entire life, only to be laughed
But
at.
in the Bible it says, don't worry. In the Bible it says, don't worry.
Well, that's
Does
Well,
it, Vic? Am I
yeah,
wrong?
but that's
Oh,
it
that's
doesn't
something.
say-
Never
Be
mind.
happy. Don't worry. Be happy.
The Bible doesn't say do nothing, I'll take care of it for you. Doesn't say that.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to go research that, because that's one of
No,
my favorite passages of the Bible. Is it says, "Hey, if you worry about anything, you're dumb. I'll take all your worry for you." You
I thought I read
right.
that there.
yeah, but it's
Am I being too simplistic?
Old
Yes.
Testament, New Testament. God help.
Yeah.
Well, it's in the same book.
It's
And they wrote
Terry,
many songs
or
about
it's
it.
the way in
yeah,
which
but
you're taking the
what's
scripture.
the bigger sin, Terry? To worry or knowing about things and doing nothing to help stop it?
Well, I don't know.
Because
I'm
God
not.
doesn't like lukewarm people. Pick a side, folks. And from what I see, a lot of people, they're not picking a side. They're just staying neutral and saying, I don't want to get involved. Well, deciding not to get involved is being involved.
Yeah.
And people don't understand that. So we need to come together as a group of Christians, conservatives, and unite. Spiritually, we can unite and fight back Satan. We're not expected just to take it and roll over and wait for Jesus to reign. That's not our mission. Our mission is to grow closer to God spiritually and defend ourselves, our beliefs, his beliefs against evil, not just roll over and take it. like we're doing. And I see that so many times every week online, because, I'm online a lot in all kinds of different political chat rooms and spiritual stuff. People pray, and I says, great, pray for guidance and help, get off your knees, grab your sword of righteousness and start fighting back. That's what God expects from us.
John, we appreciate you joining us today, bud. We'll have you back on. We've got to get to another story, but at least we have
Thanks,
an
brother.
idea
Thanks, brother.
of your knowledge, and we appreciate you taking time to join us today.
Yeah. Don't worry about anything either. Don't worry about it. It'll be fine.
happy.
It'll be fine, John.
Thanks, John. Hey, before we get out of here today, we wanted to end on a happy story. If you haven't seen it yet,
we must.
3 high school kids in Texas. They have raised, this is in Kalispell, Texas. They have raised $230,000 in just over a week for a janitor. He was retired, but the cost of rent, inflation forced him back to work. So they saw this guy hobbling down the halls again.
Yeah.
At 80 years old. Their GoFundMe has raised over $230,000.
That's how you change the world.
For this man.
I love it.
And it just goes to show that anything is possible when you try to go out and set it. This guy, it's a story that's gaining national attention.
Okay.
And it just goes to show it doesn't take that much. We talked about earlier. Guess what?
What?
Just go out, start. You don't have to do all the big things
That's right.
fast. You can try with small things.
Yes.
And when you get those small things, you can 230, and it's growing.
Isn't that phenomenal?
$230,000. So this guy,
I believe it ended today. I think the
Really?
GoFundMe ended today.
Oh, I didn't know.
it was $230,000 as of last night. So you got these 3 high school kids. You've got a guy and 2 gals that just saw him. So like, you know what? We're gonna help them. So that's
how we do it.
So guess what? The 80-year-old, he can leave work. He can go back and be retired again.
One of the best stories I've heard.
Just go ahead and show the picture,
time.
and when you get a chance, you can see the 3 kids and the janitor. I mean, and if this doesn't make you feel good, I don't know what does, because we have so much crap that we're dealing with on a daily basis. And then, of course, you get to see a man who's taken care of by kids. So there is hope. It gives us hope.
It does. There's someone like this in every community. There is someone in every
showing that picture
single
of him right now, too.
community that needs this help.
Wow, there you go.
I mean, those 3 kids walking with him down the hallway.
Isn't that sweet?
It really is.
It's just heartwarming.
See, this is why I'm saying the youth is not lost. The youth.
Of course,
Well, it's up to the
they're not
parents.
lost.
It's up to parents
Yeah.
and adults to teach youth, so they're not lost.
But the youth is searching.
So they're not stolen.
The youth is searching right now. They're like, you know what? I see all this devil stuff, and I'm not subscribing to this. This is not good. And you're seeing the youth, and we talked about this for quite some time now. The youth of this country is saying, we went way too far to the dark side. We have to pull it back. And it's not going to be Vic Faust that pulls it back. It won't be Tabitha Hassel. It definitely won't be me. It will be the youth of this country that say, it's time for an awakening. We're the ones that are going to awaken. And I believe in them after seeing all the stuff that we've seen the last couple of weeks.
Just think how much it changed this man's life. It completely changed this man's life. Can you imagine how worried he was?
That's godly.
At his age, he shouldn't have to worry.
Yes.
He shouldn't be working as a janitor. He's very frail. At 80 years old, they changed his life. And just think, if somebody picked out someone from their community every week, a different person.
What
how
a
many
great
people could be
idea.
A
helped?
neighver.
Tabitha.
A neighbor. I used to shovel driveway if it was snowy.
Good
I'd
job.
shovel driveway or snowblow driveway for a neighbor.
There's so many
She
ways.
was older. I cut grass for
amazing of you.
I mean, all the
80-year-old
people
woman.
on this
Her grass
chat
was really
line.
high. It's easy.
All
It
the
is
people on this
easy.
chat line want to meet over somewhere to go have a cocktail. I say maybe we put together a once a week kind of a deal where we just go ahead and help somebody. And then we come on Monday morning and we talk about it. I think that would be a great idea.
Eric, you can pick a person from the community, or people can nominate people from the community, and everyone can, even if it's just
And by the
clothing
way,
or rides or
by the way, I need to
anything.
get this into. I did make a donation for us on behalf of Janae Edmondson from Cancel This.
Oh yeah, I made a small one myself.
And we have updates. I didn't even see this, and I appreciate Mary you letting us know. Last time she checked, the GoFundMe for Janae was up to about over $455,000.
Wow.
And that GoFundMe is still going on. Obviously, that's still. I thought I'd seen it at even. Yeah, I'm glad to see that it's up that high, especially for the amount of care she's going to need.
And there's
that's
so
for sure.
many people like Janae. There's so many people like this 80-year-old man. There are so many people in our world who just need a little help.
Yeah.
It's not that hard to reach out and change someone's lives. And Eric, one person at a time, that's all it takes.
Alex, if you're listening to us, we should set up a web page. I'm serious. I'm a professional. Don't just hold on a second, Vic. I think we need to set up a web page, and we should have a forum. And if you know somebody, you should go to cancelthis.com, and we should have a web page that says, hey, there's this guy that's just trying to move. He's dead broke. He has 2 dogs. He needs help on Saturday. That alone would be enough. You would be changing someone's universe, and they say, I'm on it. And the group of people that follow this show, if you could just check in maybe once a day and say, hey, there's this guy that needs a little bit of money to feed his kids.
Well, as long as
There
it's
you
not,
go.
you have to be very careful though. And I hate to even have to say this, but there are people who take advantage of those kinds of systems.
Yeah, but don't rain on my parade because you can't be responsible for that. If
But
you,
there are- but
it's
Eric-
like me. It's like me, Tab.
You vet it.
You have to vet it.
Okay,
there are
fine.
people on my Facebook page
Tab, it's like
who
me.
I know could be out doing things for themselves and they're
Here,
not.
it's like
and
me.
they're like, my power's off. Will somebody go give me some money?
Well, then vet all you want. I'm just saying there's people in need out there.
There are people
Why-
in need.
I would much rather be in a situation where there is a place to go and maybe there's a few
Well,
bad
sometimes you
apples
have
there.
to say, go get a job. And sometimes you have to say, okay.
Well, then that's
people
the
like
Tabitha
this
Hassel
80-year-old
line.
Yeah, well, we will. We do. Just vet, and then you
We
help
can't
people.
just give it to
You
everybody,
help
Eric,
people that you
unfortunately.
know that need help.
Every Saturday night on Cancel This, it's the
Cancel
Tough
This
Loves with
show.
Tabitha.
Elderly people,
Cancel-
children that are starving. There's so many people.
There's
that
so
need
many
help.
people in need. CancelTheShow.com.
Just go help someone today, man. Do it. I'm going to do it.
MP, Tim, Lizzie, Eric Johnson, Tabitha Hassel. I'm Vic Faust. We appreciate you guys. Eric is Platinum Rock Legends.
Yes, I'm
playing
going to
in
be helping you have fun this weekend. Come up to the Ameristar Casino at the Bottleneck. It's our last week of a
Ameristar Friday and Saturday.
just Saturday. So I'm going to help you have fun. Okay,
What time
that's going to
does
be my help.
What time does the show start about?
It starts about 8:00. Be there at 7:00, or you won't get a table.
Damn, there you go. We appreciate it.
Help someone today,
Guys,
everybody.
go to canceltheshow.com, share the show, continue to do that. Look at our webpage, check out those sponsors, those advertisers. Let them know you appreciate them being with canceltheshow.com. If you need any of their products, check them out first before you make your purchase. That would help us out a great deal. You can also do donations as well. Canceltheshow.com. There's a donate button on the front page. If you do it from your phone, you go to menu. We appreciate you jumping in with us. Can't wait for another week next week on canceltheshow.com. Have a great day.